Alrighty. Looks like we're all set to get started. Hello to Beast Mode and Zizus and Lexi. I exist. I exist. How unfortunate. Okay, it took me forever to parse that. And Master K and Autistic Cookie B3 and Muddy or Moody. I don't know. And Acorn and Juicebox and Sunny Omari Real and Steven Universe and Superstar ZX and Gamer Doodles and Spitewish and Smidge and The Last Data and Zach Spades and Big Genghis and Phantomu and Catastrophish and Doovie and Bluekin and Neo and Noodle and Ane and Cookie Sprite and Yoki Hoshi and Flop Doodle and Inkerbell and Steph and Bear and Dark Roast Coffee and Randall and Crack-On and Flippers and East Shore and Unlocked Ocean and Octo Ari and Ames, I think. Ames? I'm going to go with Ames. And Y-Guy and Hypersonic and Snail and Chocoletu and Shockmet and Emily and Jump Boost and Spicy Chimera and Jules and Alexora Shield and Mudpippin the Nintendo Nerd and Bluethart. Hello, everyone. A lot of names, yeah. Lots of folks. Welcome in, everybody. The other day, I saw ProChara put up a tweet that said that he was getting back on Metafy. He says he's had some periods where he's had it up and some periods where he's just been too overwhelmed with other stuff to be able to do it. He advertised that it went online, and I booked a session immediately because I could use a little bit of professional development myself. And what better to do the professional development than ProChara, right? So Chara is going to be joining us on the call in a minute or two. And we're going to do a VOD review, very similar to what I've done for other folks on the channel in the past. I've given him a whole bunch of different footage, and I think he's looked over at least some of it prior to this, which is more than I usually do, to be fair. There's so much footage that it might take a little bit longer than anticipated, but hopefully you guys can all find it educational, because I can only teach, up to my own level, and I'm always trying to improve that level, but sometimes that means that I have to go and kind of question the way that I approach the game. So maybe something here that contradicts, something I've said or something I've even said in one of my videos or something, but that would be good for all of us to see. So I figured we'd put it on stream as well. All right. Let me just double check. Okay, Chara is already in there, so I'm going to hop in and join and introduce him. Hi there, Chara. We are on stream.
Hello.
How's it going? So, I'm sure basically everybody already knows who Chara is because, according to analytics, yours is the channel that overlaps the absolute most with mine.
I believe mine is the same thing. I can actually check real quick. But I think it's actually the same thing. I think also most of my viewers are familiar with you.
It was like 75% or something like that. It was some ridiculous number of overlap between our audiences. Wow, that was something I saw at one point in time. It's probably different now because I think that was a little bit before some of the growth that happened on my channel. But it was big. It was a large number.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get things shared with you in a second. Sure.
Sounds good.
I pulled up your team games first, and I'll probably start with that.
Yeah, that's definitely, my personal priority. Like, I care about the mechanical side of things insofar as it applies to the team game. So,
yeah,
I think that's a reasonable way to do it.
All right, are you able to see just fine?
I'm going to pull that up, and then I'm going to pop that out so that I can stream it.
And let me also test, I'll probably lower this to 50%. So I'll just have this play in a bit so you can test in the background first.
Sounds good. Let's go. Okay, yeah, I did.
Nice.
Okay.
It's not expected.
All right, so audio I think should be okay.
Not on right.
I need to
Yeah, this
really
is good.
quickly.
I can up and lower the video a bit if the video is a bit too much. It's supposed to trying to get.
I think it's on
weird
the.
between-
It was definitely on the quiet side on my end, so it hopefully should be in a better place now. I'm trying to figure out where it is to be able
Double crab, both
to
left.
broadcast it on my own end.
No, I'm dead.
I'll just leave it
here
playing
is.
so chat can
Yeah,
give
back
their
there.
input once it shows up on the stream. I'll
I
just
have
take a look at
strike.
your stream muted so I can see.
Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna
and
go
I'm
over to
just
the right and then
resizing
direct
it
on there.
so that it all fits.
I have breaker.
But
I'm
the
at the
audio
wall.
should be what it's going to be like now.
Hey,
And I'll
you
go and
exposed
check
all my
chat in a
tabs.
second.
Got it? That's what?
Here,
That's on right.
I'll make it so that it's just the video that's on screen. There.
Not dropped right. They're backing
Yeah.
up. Just take zone. Just take zone.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice
I'm moving
That
my
looks
stack.
good. Okay, is chat able to hear
Not
the
right
video
side.
fine if you guys want to help
Yeah,
out?
is audio
Get them
good?
away from right.
Because right now I can adjust this higher or lower. I just tend to
And I
have
can
like I
too.
can hear, but like if
Whale might
if
get
It can be
Jem here
heard.
talks, it's
All right,
clear.
people are saying audio is good, so that'd be a
Oh,
good,
left brush.
good
Good,
kind
okay.
of place for it.
We can hop back then.
All right.
Okay. All right. If we're all ready, then we can start.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Someone said Bitcoin. I'll do 55. Oh, extra percent. Okay.
Let's go.
So in this case, we're kind of just going against like standard meta is usually 2 splash, and then they just play different things around them, and usually those things are meant to deal with crab. In this case, whale, brush gets behind it, not treads it, storm hits it. So this is pretty dang close. And we're going with charger single splash. And so one of the main things that I'll like talk about first, and I just kind of want to get a few things like out of the way before we get to the gameplay, is we talk about crabs. Right. So when dealing with a meta comp, typically the way crabs will be popped is there'll be one crab that's kind of popped to start things out. Like say you have zone control, and then they want to re-push, right? The first crab they pop is probably going to get targeted by stuff immediately, because you want to negate it right away. So if you have like tri-strike, for example, since you have 2 of them on your team, like you might tri-strike it, you might try to counter crab it if you think you can like start shooting it at first, or you might like position differently depending. And the other thing that what'll happen is when they crab, their players are going to walk forward, especially with a backless comp like this. And this is actually the reason like stuff like E-Leader is a bit less common, is nothing, at least to me, I don't think it's as much to do as fighting crab itself, but it's more that you want teams being able to move with crab. So what they'll do is they'll first crab, they'll tank resources, and it'll get them started. And the second crab will actually be the one you have to worry about. You know, like that'll be the crab that's set up like on the right stack, and that'll now clear your own stack. You know, like on this map, the stacks are the most important positions. So they'll crab on the right stack and they'll clear off the left stack. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So in your comp, and this is something my own teams had to test out in the sense of when we did single crab, is how do you set that up for yourselves? Like, how do you get that second crab value, like where it's really far forward and like moving the enemy back further, and then you get to walk in? Like, how do we set that up without a first crab is going to be one of the main challenges for your guys' comp. So that's something I'm going to look for in terms of how do you play around that. And then the other thing that I'm going to point out is if you're going with like a more off-meta composition, like leader, bucket, T-Tech, like as a trio is not super common, we're going to have to play around what makes this comp work really well. So I'm going to be looking to see if your team takes advantage of like a few of the tools you have and plays around things that you can do differently. Because if you're not exploiting anything your comp does better against a meta comp and the teams are evenly skilled, the meta comp in theory should win. Just because this is a more solid, easier game plan to go to. But in general, you want to try to play around what makes your comp special. All right.
They have 2 classes.
Yeah. Within 3.
I forgot this block
Watch
here.
out by.
Okay. So we have leader right, I'm guessing bucket left, splash somewhere with you, right?
Bucket and Splash both went left. I think it was the game plan that we called out ahead of time. And my idea was I'm going to go mid. I'm going to contest early cap, and if somebody tries to go for it, that I'm not going to hard force them right away. But if I always go for early zone cap because I want if they let us have the cap immediately before they even like get to zone, then I want to be able to take advantage of that paint and in the fight that comes up afterwards. So I always go for that, and I think we might actually get it here. And then once they start getting contested on the left, my plan is to shift over there if they need help, or to hold opponents off from the right from being able to rotate to help the fight on left.
Okay, so we're kind of managing two things. We're like keeping right stack in tech, like in theory you can push that, but also capstone, yeah, you can cover your teammates on the left. So you're kind of in the middle ground, and based on how this fight goes, you're going to try to adapt and cover whichever side you think needs help. Okay.
Exactly. Also, thank you for the donation, Tofu Stuff.
Not on right. Yeah, see if you can pressure right out since we've got more range. There we go.
Nice.
Okay, so their team hasn't moved yet though. So we've anticipated an aggressive push here, but they don't really have the comp to be able to do so. Something I've kind of noticed right away. The splashes are typically going to play for crab. Like splashes, it's like the one thing Splash is kind of weak at is walking forward. And it's not because it's bad at it. It's more because it has the special that gets everyone in, and so one splash going down like really hurts that. The Brush plays for an opening whale, and the Nautilus is going to have to play defensively anyway here. So they don't really have many people to push your stack. So the plan to like punish a push here is like a solid plan against a different comp. But against this team, they're not going to go for that kind of thing. Or if they do, it doesn't fit their comp as well.
Still not my right stack.
So that means like we get the zone here, and we have all this paint control, but like what you wanted to do, you know, covering the left side, you don't have that to do because there's no one there yet.
Oh.
So we're kind of, now we just kind of wait in the zone. And so that even though you guys got the cap, like now their team's setting up with stuff. Like now you're getting whaled in the corner. They have a crab in the middle of the map, like whale on the left stack. Like now we're in a really bad situation. So if we're going to open against a team like this that's going to play for specials, then someone needs to play for their own counter special in order to deal with it. So for example, if your splash gets crab up here, like they're going to get whaled, but they'll be able to crab and like wall out the enemy crab, and you'll hold space for a bit, and then you can try to push with something like Tri-Strike. Because here your whole team's probably really close to resources, like especially your two shooters are probably very close to special, like not just you. But they have their stuff first because they played for special first. And you, while you did get mid, your team doesn't have enough map control to be able to like effectively fight. Like everything's still really small. And the main thing to keep in mind is your whole team is in front of theirs. And that's important because that's the one thing Crab kind of struggles with, is dealing with people from multiple angles. And so for a team comp like this, if they want to push with Crab, it's very important that they try to keep you all in front of them. And so this kind of thing sets up really well for their team comp.
Okay, so something like a flank would be harder for them to deal with in this kind of a situation.
Yeah, because either their Crab has to turn at the flank, and you guys can hold mid, or someone has to go back and cover that flank, and it means the people who want to walk forward with the Crab, someone has to turn around and deal with the sides. The sides are really, really powerful, and especially in this meta, you have to, like, if you are not brute forcing the Crabs away with, like, resources of your own, you have to have a way to where the Crab doesn't instantly win the team fight. And you guys do kind of get lucky here, because, like, they still at least Crab in low ground, which is like a very common Crab mistake. Like in this case, it's just to help you here, but the Crab actually has a lot more limited vision from this spot. Like the standard fire isn't going to be able to do too much, so they're kind of forced to just AoE you on your own stack, like use the explosive fire to pressure your team. But in this case, they're plopping it just to try to get the pick on you to win the whole fight right here.
Double crab, both
use
left.
double crab, use double crab.
Okay, if they ever pop two Crabs at the same time like this, like how you guys are backing off here is good. It's unfortunate your splash gets picked off, but like if your splash stayed alive, then this is really good. Because two Crabs is a little bit redundant. Like they kind of do the same thing. Like both their Crabs did the exact same thing, but you don't need the second one.
Yeah, and they sat on like the same position too. They didn't spread apart from each other to cover multiple angles.
Yeah, exactly. They're all hitting around the same spot. So if they ever do that and you waste both their Crabs, that's great, because now once you set up your Crab, they have much less to deal with it. Like, as long as you guys can cover the flanks, you guys are really good to set up here. In this case, they get the picks, so you're still going to have to wait a bit, but, like, even here, you're going to come up on your resources first, because they burn whales, they burn both Crabs. All they're going to have is an Ingstorm, and you're going to come up on all your other specials first, so you'll have a really good special advantage in the next fight, and be able to flip and get a better hold.
Not's pushing right. I'm gonna back up.
Okay, so one thing to note retreating through middle is really difficult on a lot of these maps, and this is one of them. This is why like left stack is typically a safer spot, because backing up through right is difficult. And the other problem that you want to keep in account is if you back up here and let's say let's say the splash here chases you and kills you. I know they're in a crab right now, but like for instance, let's say a splash chases and kills you here, right? Like, what's something that they might want to do if the splash walks over here and kills you? Like, where would they play?
They'd flank around to our left, their right.
Yeah, like kind of go around this area here. And so one thing that retreating does that I think people don't realize a few times is it puts the enemy player to walk in the same spot that they already wanted to go. So it's like rather than having to detour to kill you and then go into the right position, they're able to do it at the same time. And so if you retreat, you need to be able to get out alive. Because if you go backward and die here, it's worse than you, say, going to the side and dying. Like, even if it seems the same thing, because it puts them in a better spot. If they have to move away, at the very least, they now have to walk over again, and they lose more time. So
it's like Ren was talking about earlier on a Splat Zones game, where they're taking fights to force the enemy team to either look at them or look at the zone.
Yeah, it's very similar concept. Instead of this case, it's like your key position is left stack, so it's you're taking them away from there. So that way, like, your splash might get out, or if you have a bucket there or a charger or something, they can't pick on both. And that will especially be common with charger.
Mm-hmm. So here I should
like,
probably just be jumping out, because I don't have a way out to the right and dropping left. I'm just kind of pinned behind this block, and I'm going to get flanked in a second if someone runs forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. The reason I point this out is with charger, this is really common, because what will often happen is like a front line will get pushed, and they'll walk backward into the charger, and then the front line will walk forward, shoot them, and shoot the charger. And if the front line walked to the side, the charger would have lived.
No, it's pushing right.
So it's depending on where your charger is, it's something you have to be really careful of.
I have strike. Okay, I'm gonna get over to the right and then strike from there.
I have breaker.
One come up the wall here. Okay.
Okay.
I have breaker.
So we have specials and we hesitate. Why do you think you guys don't push right here?
My thinking here is that I want to get information before I pop the tri-strike so that I know where I'm trying to throw these things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to get over to the right and then strike from there.
See, your team kind of bombs and clears this side. But let's say, like, maybe we don't know someone's down here, right? And you use your tri-strike and you probably, like, you know, throw in stack, throw here maybe, like, in the middle. If they have a player here, like, where you might be worried about, the strike now cuts them off from their team. And you can just paint the area, find them, and if you find them, they're dead. Because they don't have help anymore. You've cut them off. Because this whole area here is very narrow. No one on the right here can help at all. Their stack's too far. And so one thing you can do there is, like, the tri-strikes are really just to get you forward. Like, on this map, you want to try to get key positions. Particularly, you want to get your stack. And so you do have to be worried about people there, but you actually have the resources to do both things at the same time. You can both move people, but you can also kind of trap the enemy in an unfavorable fight. And so if you can clear that, then it allows you to move sooner. Because what happens here is we wait like 5 seconds to push in, and their team like starts to rotate and be prepared for it. It's not a big difference. Like, this is still a very winnable fight, but it's worth noting you do lose that time. And the more time they have, the easier it'll be for them to defend.
Okay.
Let's
Get this guy on right.
Good catch.
Striking.
Let's
Good
go.
chase. Nice.
Not
Nice.
right.
on right.
That's good.
Not dropped right. They're
Not.
Okay. So right here is kind of like, I really like how your team pushes it though once you get started. So the strikes get here, you immediately take care of right side because you want your E-leader to be able to like push up and really pressure right, and so you can't have anyone shark in. It also lets you paint the side of zone your team's not on. You have 2 people on left stack, so you don't need to cover it. So going right here is good. You notice someone's too far and you pick them off. All that really
got
good.
him. That's one.
And the other thing I like is a bit harder to see,
That's
but you
right.
get a crab tank set up on the left stack. Like the whole second crab thing I talked about earlier. Instead of using the first crab, you use your strikes and you walk forward and you set up the crab that way. And now with the crab on the left stack, you'll have a lot of pressure here. And that'll open up for you. So you clearing right helps to clear left, and then the left helps you. It's like nice little synergy between the 2 sides of the map that's going on. The main thing here though is that we're chasing the Nautilus instead of getting the stack. Like, even
Backing
this
up,
little
just-
drop is unnecessary. You're not here to kill the knot, and you don't even want to chase the knot, because T-Tech versus knot, very difficult matchup.
Take zone, just take zone.
Instead, you want to get your team to get more
Okay.
map control.
Nice pick.
And if you can take the stack, the knot now has to walk up here, and then you can actually, like, you could use a bomb on the stack or on the floor, and then keep him out. And on top of that, you
Right,
get
they're
more
backing up.
vision.
Just take zone.
Because
just
right
take-
now you can't really see too
So-
much in mid, and you can't help too
There we
much
go.
on left side.
Nice.
If you get up top here and keep the Nautilus out, the rest of your team doesn't need to worry about this anymore, because you're on there, and that means the rest of your team can help focus the left side and clear the left out, because the left is where they can't really afford to fight. You know, they can't back off here. There's no, well, there's one way out, but it's not a good way out, you know?
Yeah, I think with the drop, I was anticipating that the knot was going to try and flank, and I guessed wrong. So staying up there, I mean, I can always, you know, wait and confirm that they're doing that before I drop, and it's not like I'm super unsafe if they do flank and I'm still on the stack. So keeping that key position, I think, is a good takeaway from that.
Yeah.
One question is that I have this kind of general game plan a lot of the time on when I'm playing, especially like Splatter Shot and 52, that I often end up playing like the weak side of the map. Like I'll have a couple of teammates go on one side that I don't know if this is like football terminology or where I got this from, but I have like I think of myself as like I'm watching for flanks or I'm watching for opportunities where they're looking at something else. I'm like trying to find an off angle so that I'm not on the same line that my teammates are while they're drawing the most attention, so that I can ideally either get picks or secure opponents away from the main fight that's happening. Is that a good way of approaching it, or like am I the right weapon to be doing that?
Absolutely, you're a good weapon for this. Your bucket could also do it in this case because stacks, but for more general maps, yeah, this is absolutely where you want to play. Only other thing I'll add in terms of the knot situation, if you're worried about the knot going here, and if you get stack, you force him either into this little low ground court area, or if he tries to take back his stack, he's now in your range, and you have a much more favorable fight. Like now the knot's actually something you could fight because it's not far away from you.
That makes sense.
In this
drop
case, it's
right.
more just Mako or Mako or whatever is
Yeah.
a map that's very like the stacks are the whole part of the map. If you watch like Japanese teams in Area Cup, the stacks are always the focus on this map. They're basically the main like key positions
They're
to
backing up.
be
Just take-
accounted for. And so if you can ever control both stacks at the same time, you have high ground, you have the routes that are easiest to move on, you have control to easily paint the zone. So many different things that you can take advantage of from that position.
zone, just take zone. There we go.
Nice pick.
I'm moving left stack.
One in their freezer.
Not right stack.
Like you see how once you're here, you control this. Like you have to watch this, but the second you're there, their team has to respect it, or they have to throw some resource at you.
Back
Yeah.
side.
I'm
It's
just
like you
scaring them
get
away
here,
from
and now your bucket gets
Right.
here, now these are pushed further, and now you don't have to worry about the flank. And the other positive is they do crabs like this. And this is really common, like even in higher level play, you'll see
There.
people
Crab
panic
is
crabs
on
like
right.
this. Oh, and that actually kills the knot.
Yeah.
But like
I'm just
anytime you
scaring
can
'em
burn a crab
Right.
in
Right.
Narnia,
Couple-
and Narnia is my favorite term for
Oh, yeah.
irrelevant part of the map. Is
I've used that myself.
humongous positive. Because like, one, it anchors them here because they can't really move fast. So one, they're stuck here and they don't want to be here. This spot doesn't do anything. Like you can kind of hit the stack, but you can't really take it. But second, it removes their ability to set up a second crab with the first one. Like now that's gone. They have to use like the other crab up here, for instance. They can't try to crab all the way on their own stack. That option's gone unless if you guys make a mistake. And so that means it's way easier for you to hold. And if you don't have to use resources on that crab, especially since you're a team with double tri-strike, you are now going to have strikes for that second crab and be able to stop it from firing, and that makes it a much, much better counter.
Couple there.
There's a
Crab is
brush
on
on the
right.
top left.
Got one. Whale might get me. Couple there.
There's a
Crab.
So, I see it.
Is
Like,
that right?
holding this left side comes natural, right? Because it's one-way drop, so it's like you just play under the ledge. If they drop, you get the kill, right?
Mhm.
But this spot is actually not a great spot for you to be. And the main reason is because if they get here, like, A, they're in front of your stack anyway, so your charger or bucket is just going to shoot them. The only other way they can go is right to the stack where if you're there, you can shoot them from high ground anyway. And that leaves the only actual angle they can go is down here. This is low ground that they can't retreat from. This is a really difficult spot to fight from. And if you can force the enemy team to try to fight down here and salvage it here, it's going to be a really good fight for you. Especially because if they drop this far, you can now go behind them from here. And so if the enemy team wants to drop left on Mako, it's kind of a map-specific thing, but honestly, just let them. Like, they can go here. This is like a death pit.
Okay.
Got one.
And so, like, typically the only weapons that are good to go there are really fast weapons that will try to rush your stacks. Like, the main thing you would need to be cautious about is, like, Ink Brush. Because Ink Brush will drop there, and then it'll immediately run behind your stack as fast as possible, and if it gets there, then it's a problem.
Whale might get me. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult spot, because, like, even if you don't dodge the whale and you back up, either splash just throws burst bombs and you're dead. Like, you have nowhere to go.
I'm dead. Watch
Go
out.
on left, brush.
That is a
Brush
name.
flanking left.
They have one more crab. Be careful. I believe there's gonna be two coming from right stack.
Brush is to the left. I have to back up.
In a freezer, got him.
Good job
Nice
there.
pick. I'm by right
Nice,
side.
that's two. Get zone, get zone.
Pushing on that. Oh my god, I trade them. So sorry.
Brush is mid.
Good drop here. This is a really nice
That's
angle
two.
to play,
Get
by the
zone.
way. Like,
Get zone.
Pushing on that.
you're basically going to pressure the splash for free. Your whole team's on the Nautilus, so they're
Pushing on that.
fine.
Oh my god, I trade.
And you're completely in cover. You're not in any risk of
That's
dying. So,
sorry.
Brush is mid.
like,
No, that's
reduces
good.
a lot of what the Knot can do. It puts them in a worse situation.
Yeah, that's a good trade.
Forward really nice
Yeah.
here.
Good stuff, good stuff.
I'm moving right stack now. Is a brush on the right?
There's two right side.
Okay. So, this is a bit panicked. I think you probably know that, right?
It was, yeah, I'm looking at it after the fact and I'm like, this feels like something that I'm doing to stall rather than to counter resources that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I feel like a special like this, like a Booyah Bomb or a Tri-Strike or something, like, it's not going to last for such a long time that it's worth it to just use making them take longer, because they have a crab that's going to last 8 seconds.
Kind of. Booyah Bomb 100%. But what makes Booyah Bomb really good at is you booyah, you get in the air, you have 500 HP, and then you have a bomb you can throw across the map, and you hold it for like 9 seconds, like longer than Tri-Strike's entire duration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically just, you hold this, and it's not, you don't pop the booyah to throw it immediately, you pop it to just, I will throw this if you drop under a ledge, if you pop a crab tank, if you do anything, I will throw a Booyah Bomb at you.
Mm-hmm.
Tri-Strike can't really do that, because A, it's just not as big as a Booyah Bomb, it's not as threatening. 2, you have multiple of them to try to get off. But most importantly, you are not in the air 50 feet away with the 500 HP shield. You're walking around with no sub-weapon, no main weapon, and no squid form.
Mm-hmm.
And so A, it makes you really vulnerable, and because you're vulnerable, if you
Moving
panic
right
it,
back
instead
now.
of being able to stall and play the time, you're like, oh crap, they're going to shoot me if I don't do anything. I have to throw strikes in front of them so they don't walk
Brush
at
on the
me.
right?
And now I have 1 strike left I might as well just throw, and the special's done. And that's it. Like, there's 1 strike still landing. This bought, like, maybe 2 seconds. Like, it doesn't buy any time compared to Booyah Bomb. So it's
Yeah.
like, the threat of these going off is what actually stalls time, not them going off themselves.
Two right side.
And so that's the main problem with the Tri-Strike throw there. That being said, you lobbing this one, it was actually really good. Because this
It's two
explodes
right
way
side.
later. But the other thing is here, like, you see how this lands, like, so much later? Like, you have, like, 3-4 seconds. I think your stream can't see the screen. I don't know if you click something.
Oh, shoot, 1 sec. I can fix that. There, now it should be visible again. Sorry about that. I was hearing that the YouTube title hadn't updated, and so I was really quickly fixing that, but I forgot that when you put something in front of...
before a long time ago.
When you put something
with
in
a
front
video.
of... with Restream is specifically why it's happening, because Restream
Oh,
isn't
I
connected to YouTube right now for some reason, even though it says it is, and I haven't figured out how to get that fixed. But when you put something in front of the Discord window that's popped out, it treats it like it's minimized, even when it's not, and so it just doesn't show up on OBS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've got it back.
Yeah. So, I actually do remember a video of you talking about this, and you mentioned something about why T-Tech isn't K-Shot, you know? And you mentioned, like, you have to throw the strikes, you're not going in with them, and that's what makes K-Shot really good, is it goes in with the missiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do remember you talking about that at one point. I think it was when the weapon came out.
Is a brush
But there is one way to work around that weakness,
on the right?
which is the lobbing right here. When you lob it, you basically get the same travel time that the missiles gets. And so that strike,
Let's do
if
it.
you were to like, say you wanted to climb and push top left, like, if you really wanted to make that play happen and go
Force
top
on the
left,
right?
you just go right here,
Let's do right side.
and you, by the time you get there, the strike's going off, and you're fighting right on top of the ink strike.
That makes a lot of sense. That is something I actually probably should have gone for there.
And it's something to note in general. Like, there's a lot of cool tri-strike stuff in general. That's part of why I'm a big fan of this specials. There's a lot to it. I mean, like, Krim's whole line thing is really good. But better than a splitting line like that is the capability to have 4 players with the strikes. And so lobbing strikes like that is really, really useful. And it's something that's not taken advantage of enough, usually because it takes a lot of time to get used to, because you really have to know, like, the arcs to, like, hit a spot like this. You know, like, this is a hard throw to hit if you're looking like this. But if you can learn that and, like, get used to the general trajectory of the strikes and can take advantage of their travel time, you can start setting up situations where you're fighting with your own strikes. And that means you'll have, like, 4 people fighting with the tri-strike instead of 3. Even more important than for you is for the bucket. Because bucket is much more aggressive. Like, bucket has to be fighting. Like, that, it's kind of what it does. It goes into plays under ledges. So bucket being able to use tri-strikes needs to be able to get itself set up with those tri-strikes. T-Tech doesn't always need to do that, because sometimes you're just painting a zone or throwing a bomb at someone. And then, you know, you going in with the strikes isn't as important, and it's more you want them to land on time. But it's important to note for times where you do need to push with them, that that's an option you can have. And even here, if you don't push, like, at least it clears them off here longer, because they have to wait for this one. You can see the splash painting behind it first, and then they walk up. And this actually is what bought you some time. But in general, I wouldn't really special to buy time unless if you're very close to a lead, or if you're like, you have a teammate in a fight that can get a pick or something like that you know immediately. Because it's much better to have it to stall the crab out. Anything you can do to get the crab to stop firing is incredibly valuable. So it's really, you have to be really safe in terms of using any resources that could be used on crab. Because anything you use beforehand is something you will not have when this happens.
Pops.
Two
Both
crabs,
crabs
two
pops.
crabs, two crabs, two crabs.
Not
down.
down.
Nice.
Two us that, two us that.
Not coming left. Not coming left.
We'll try and stall the zone best I can.
Yeah, watch out by my left alley,
Yeah,
not.
I'm dead.
Not dead.
No, okay, not there, they're nice.
Okay, that's one down. Let's start pressuring in. Okay, 3v3, 3v3.
I'll almost have crab here. I'll have here.
One pushing freezer.
Nice,
thank you.
good calls.
One
Nice
left
position
closed.
there.
It's
Being patient with one down, really good. We're still pressuring stack, so if someone pushes from stack, they can't 2v1 you as easily. But you're still, like, aware of this here, because you move immediately, like, once he drops. So that's good. Like, be aware of it, but still use your bomb to cut off the other option. Like, you're watching one way and you're throwing a bomb at the other. You're just trying to prevent being died by 2 people as much as possible. Or you'd have to back up and give up this position. But being able to hold this and keep people from 2v1ing you, really, really good. That's part of what makes Spot Bomb really good right now.
one pushing freezer. Nice, thank you. One left closed.
Very good at creating, like, situations like that where you can fight.
people
Max, gonna crab here, yeah. There's 2 below our side.
I'm down.
Not worth wasting time with an ink brush for you, in general. Like, especially if none of your team's over here, don't give ink brush time here. If the ink brush can't really do too much here, he kind of has to walk up stack and you'll have the range advantage. But if you're fighting him here on his own terrain, he's just going to keep you here. Like, if you're here, you can't see anything. You can't go anywhere. And so that's all they care about. Like, if the brush is here, they just want you here, in this trench. And so if you ever, like, notice you're getting, like, cornered and the brush is just trying to keep you in front of him, find a way out, if possible. Like, just try to get out and make the brush have to go and do something else. Especially since, like, you have strike here. Like, the brush as well, too, but the brush doesn't need to go somewhere and throw it. It'll just pop it and keep doing what it's doing. That's what makes it good with brush. You need to go and, like, use your tri-strike and help out your team. And so they're just trying to keep you from helping out and doing that job that was so crucial last fight.
Two below our
Max, gonna
side.
crab here, yeah. There's 2 below our side.
I'm down to bomb.
Still not.
Brush still
Breaking
zone.
out the zone.
I got whaled.
Oh,
Guys still got 2 picks, though,
You
so
got
you're
the zone
fine.
here.
We don't have to hold for long to get lead.
I have breaker.
Right stack, no stack.
Moving left stack.
I'm heading back to our
Crab's on
stack. I'm heading back to our
Grab
stack.
him.
On right.
Autos one right.
Moving left stack.
Let's see.
We don't have to hold for
I
long to
have-
get lead.
I have
Bucket pressuring left. Either's...
breaker.
Right
Wait,
stack, no
back.
stack.
Moving left stack.
I'm heading back
Crab's
to
on
our
right as well.
stack. I'm heading back to our
Grab
stack.
him.
On right.
Right stack.
So you're kind of just like sitting in the middle of the zone here. I think that's kind of the main thing. You debate going left and then you kind of change your mind. You debate going right and then you change your mind again. Like you kind of shoot here, but then you back up. And it just keeps you in the middle of the map in the zone. And if you're in zone, especially if you're located, you're just going to get targeted by everything. Because they want to hit here anyway, whether you're here or not. So being in this kind of position is really, really risky. At the same time, it means this right side isn't being accounted for. Like, whether you pick left or right, like, right would have probably been a bit better. But the point is, like, either one would have been better than sitting here. Like, either way, your team gets a counterplay option. Like, if you go left, someone else can watch right and be careful for the Nautilus. Like, it's tough, but it's something. But if you're here, neither are being covered. So they just push right anyway.
Yeah, what happened there was I went up onto the stack. I knew I was marked. And then my E-leader came up behind me on the stack. And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm marked, and I'm here on top of the leader. I don't want to draw fire to the leader, but if I drop forward, then I don't have cover for a little while before I get behind a ledge or something. And so, like, Coffee, who is on the left side there on the splash, Coffee can back up through closed right now, but me, I'm going to take a little while longer if I have to back up through closed. And so I felt like if I were dropping over on the left side that there wasn't really a great way back for me if there was something that was already in range to hit when I was dropping. So I didn't feel safe going that way, and I tried to rotate over to the right to help Amina, but Amina went down as soon as I got there, and so that's why I'm kind of hovering where I'm at.
Oh, I see.
Grab him.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. At the same time, like, if you win this fight on the left side here, like, Coffee over here is fighting on the left. If you go over here and even like throw one bomb and that fight swings in your favor, yes, you'll lose the right side, but now the entire left side is clear. There's only one person fighting here because they have one from spawn, two on the right. So if you clear the left side, like, yeah, there'll still be someone on the right, but they don't instantly lose all your map control because you at least now have this whole area to fight from.
Okay, I was too scared of left then. I don't think I had information that there was only one on left. I thought maybe there was someone on snipe still. But you're right, there's someone spawning, and then we knew that there was one on right on Amina, and then there's the one on the stacks we can see right here. So, yeah, we could have just collapsed on that player and gone for it.
Yeah, and you don't even need to kill him, but, like, if you force this guy over here, you now have left stack. And your E-leader can patrol the right stack, like, well enough until they pop a crab tank. But, like, then at least you force crab, etc.
Yeah, like, if the Naut tries to drop on me, then Astra just snipes it, so...
It's like, it's just important to play for. It's always one of the stacks. Stacks are always the focus, not mid. Always the stack. You have the stack, you'll get mid. If you have both stacks, you can push forward. If you cannot control either, you're going to get ran out of mid.
Moving left stack.
And so that's why it's like, it's always better to at least be contesting one of these two. At least make them look at one of them.
On right,
It's also a bit unfortunate because we're close to strike here, but we can get down defense.
Be careful.
I'm backing up. I am unable to climb a wall. I'm pushing on the
Left.
left.
I tapped them once and burst.
Sorry, I missed.
They're dead, they're dead, they're dead.
That's
they're
good.
dead.
Alright, striking into zone.
Not left zone.
They're dead.
Alright.
Okay, so you see how once the crab gets popped, it's immediately wailed?
Not left.
And like targeted, the knock goes on and such. This is there's two main reasons I would have your tri-strike go first. Reason number one is that if the crab goes first, the crab is going to get targeted by everything, and this is your main special. Like, this will get you in. But the second thing is when you're throwing strikes, you can't walk forward with the crab. Like, the strikes will provide some displacement, but so will this. And so if you strike first, you'll get your crab further, and then they crab, and you go in. You don't have to worry about, like, I have to throw strikes right now. Like, you already have that done.
So I am individually able to go with the crab. I see what you mean.
Exactly. And that's important because remember, you have the leader. The leader is not going to walk in with crab as much. Like, it's not going to take a lot of space. So you and the slosher have to. Like, you guys need to make something happen with it because you don't have a third player for that. It's another one of the reasons why 2 Splash is just so good. It's like you have a backup plan. If one crab goes wrong, you just have like another player who can do the same thing. But in your guys' case, you don't have that margin for error. That's partially why I think like not running 2 Splash is like significantly more hard. Because you don't have this backup plan, so you have to really be careful to make sure your crab, like, as good as it is, you need the crab to do a lot for your team. And so it's important to kind of keep that in mind.
And it, like, crab also isn't it's not the most like impregnable of specials if you've got the entire team looking at it. Like it can't just go in and hold by itself. It has to be supported to have that disproportionate impact. So
Exactly, yeah.
not having
right
us
on.
up there in front with it kind of, you could say it goes off a little early, or we get in there a little late, probably a little of column A, a little of column B. But yeah, to get that coordinated better would be useful, and that's something I can bring back to the team.
And that's always something worth to know, because a lot of people like to, I mean, if you've seen Twitter, you've seen missiles being compared to crab now for the past 2 days. That's been the funny Twitter trend lately, because someone did a poll on it and everyone talked about it. Missiles, there's not much to it. You just pop, you lock 4 players across the map, you get them off for free. Crab, even if it's like, takes too much, like, what makes crab good is that it takes way too much resources to deal with, to the point where it's not feasible. Like, that's what makes it really broken. Like, it has 500 health and it reaches really far. And it's like, to deal with all these factors, it requires too much from you, to where the enemy team doesn't have as good options. But at the same time, crab is way more contestable. You can stop it from firing. You can trap it. You can use displacement specials on it. You can kill the crab user before it gets into position. Even just stopping it from firing, some things can break it. Like, there's a lot of different things to make a crab go wrong. And like, those things don't keep crab from being unbelievably broken and in need of nerfs, of course, but they are still factors when you're setting up your own crab that you do have to keep in mind. And so I think like a lot of players I've seen, like especially lower level, talking about the meta, just treats crab as like this unkillable, game-ending, not fun monster, which it is, but you can't think of it like that. Like, you have to think of, how do we approach to deal with our own crabs? Like, how do we deal with their crab? How do we set up our own crab? And like, think about those factors. Just because something is really good does not make it simple, easy, reliable 24/7. There are still factors that go into it.
Knock on the left somewhere.
Rain on
Be
left,
careful.
yeah.
Trade with not. Trade with
Not
not.
is
Trade
down.
with not. Trade with not.
Try and keep
Two of
zone.
them behind zone.
Very risky with the rain there.
Yeah, I stayed in there for a
Put a
while.
breaker down here to keep them
I
off
was
zone.
debating whether to go to one side or another, and I just ended
Grab
up
on right.
staying in the middle of it.
Oh, that's a good
Got
push.
one.
Nice.
Flash.
I was gonna comment, like, make sure if you're ever in a spot like this to bomb, and you did it.
Crab on right.
I've donuts. Nice.
Got one.
That was perfect
Keep
trap.
zone, keep zone.
Crab freezer.
There, that's
Just lead
lead.
on the left.
I screwed up.
Okay, little
Crab
greedy.
freezer?
Okay, you recognize it.
Yeah, that's
But
lead.
on the left.
just play the stack. At this point, when you get a kill, like, their push is stuff. That crab isn't doing anything. At this point, your team just, every special you have. Like, I would even call to my other team, what are we close to? Like, figure it out immediately. If we have a wave, we can wave the right stack when they try to walk right stack. If we have strike, we're striking the left when they drop. Like, crab, we win the game. Anything like that. The second you burn this, their team now is going to have equal specials to yours. This is what makes zones, like, an absolute pain. Is if you mess up one time retaking the zone as an attacking team, that can just lose you the entire game. And like in this case, they should have probably just lost the game here. This should have probably been GG at this point. If your team plays correctly this point forward, their team cannot do anything without becoming absolute gods and one-shot comboing 2 people across the map.
Keep zone, keep zone.
And so the way we set up that winning condition is we take the positions and we set up the specials. So right stack,
Yeah,
hold
that's
right stack, don't let the splash get up here. Because if the splash can get up here and pop crab here, their team has a chance. If they have to crab to take here, they don't have enough to use on the zone. So that's key difference 1. And then 2 is you guys will have specials. And so even if they crab and start to push on a stack, the second the rest of their team walks forward with the crab, you use the specials on them and they can't get to the zone. It's too much to manage. So anytime you get like a 2-down fight on zones, try to just win the fight cleanly. Unless if you're something like a Tetra that will just die and come back and doesn't get a special worth caring about anyway, it's usually just better to immediately take positions, paint, get specials, and force them to play to get back in.
Lead.
On the left.
I screwed up.
Triple jump.
I'm down and right.
Got him.
Good stuff.
That has respawn punish splash. Interesting.
Behind zone.
I'm surprised to see that.
Yeah, especially when they were the
Nice,
one who
that's
was
two, that's
pushing
two,
in
good zone.
first.
Yeah.
One on left, one on left.
It's very risky to play that.
Not down?
That's-
Down, down.
Like, it can be good,
Another
but
one on left?
it's just
Nice.
I
extremely...
think dead. 9.
I'm getting
There's
into the
There's a
base.
very low margin for error for playing
moving
Splash
right
with
stack.
Respawn Punisher, because if you mess up, you just get hit so
Yeah, not
hard.
getting into the
Brush
base.
on the right side. One left.
Several watching left. I'm gonna drop freezer.
Ooh. Okay.
Getting
Is
into
the
base.
brush on the right side? One left.
So
Several.
this is more on your teammate than you. Not that they
Watching
did a
left, I'm
bad
gonna
play,
drop
but more
freezer.
they did a play that requires coordination here. Like they crabbed to like really aggressively hold this left side and like potentially find a pick.
One bunker.
But the problem is they're the only one doing it, and they're just gonna get shredded by like 3 people. Same thing in terms of like crab not being great there. If you do see that like aggressive crab, you need to call like to have someone help. It doesn't even have to be you, but like someone has to be there. So when everyone goes and shoots the crab, you get a kill, and then the crab user just runs, and then you've just traded a kill, and it's fine. But the second you walk away here, your crab is dead.
In freezer.
And again, it's like you had no idea they were going to do that because they didn't say anything, so it's not as much on you here, but it's worth noting.
I think what happened was that I called that I was going to go over the left, and
Not getting
so
into
he figured that he was going to
I'm
have
moving right
me in front and that he could crab up there to cover me. But when I
Oh, yeah,
decide
from
to
here,
bail
that's a
on the
fair
play, and when I'm like, oh crap, I think that's someone up there that could drop on me, I decide not to go for it, and he does go for it.
Several watching
Nah,
left.
never
I'm gonna
mind,
drop-
never mind. I'm already back down and
Well,
I'm
no,
backed up
you
by the
did
time he
kind of
goes
back
for it.
out technically.
Mhm.
I mean, you're somewhat there, but at this point, they probably, if they're already tunneling on doing that play and they don't realize you're backing off, then they're going to go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, if you're the one bailing out of a play and they're following you, you need to tell them, never mind. Like, okay, never mind, go crab left, or like.
Yeah, and
back
I think
off,
I did
get
say
them
I'm
to stop.
dropping into freezer.
Thank you.
Dead.
Yeah, but I more mean like not a call out for you. Like you're calling out to
getting
your
into
splash.
base.
You're telling your splash what to do
I'm
here.
moving right stack.
Gotcha.
It's like the splash is falling to do a play with you. If you back up on that, they're still assuming you're doing
not
it.
getting
It's
into base.
kind of like an unspoken
Okay.
One left.
Several-
coordination here. And so if they're not sure, you can always just tell them to back off. Like that's fine. And they can do the same thing. Like if they really want this play to happen, they can be like, Gem, bomb top left, fight left side. Like tell you to do it, and then you listen to them. Like either
We've
one
got
works.
we've actually got coffee in chat saying, "Why did I do that?"
It's fine. It's like it's a solid idea here. I'm not like
Watching left. I'm gonna drop freezer.
not every play needs to be perfect in this game, really. Like yes, this is not the best play to do at this time, but like it's not gonna lose you the game or anything. It's fine. And like you can't plan like super specifically for this kind of thing in general. Like there's going to be things that are come up on the fly in terms of how you make things happen. There's just too many factors, and this game moves too fast to have we're going to stand 2 left side, we're going to pop crab this spot, I will try strike here, our E-liter will be right stack, our bucket will be throwing try strikes at the crab that they'll pop on the right. Like, it's too many factors. You're never going to have that. And so if they see an opportunity to make a play like this, then yeah, it's fine. It's just you guys need to be on the same page. Like, it's better to do a bad plan and execute it well than it is to just try to like a really comprehensive plan and be too slow to actually pull it off by the time it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not getting into base.
Yeah, we can skip out here.
One in bunker.
In freezer.
I got 2 silly, I'll be honest. There's gonna be 2 coming.
Same retreating thing from earlier, though, by the way. Like, you notice how you're kind of stuck in
I
middle?
got you.
Like, once you get here, retreat to the left. Like, at least get out of zone. Because you're going to walk straight into where everyone's firing, and you're going to get shot. Promise.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Like, I can see when you walk there, before you even get there, before I can even see there's players, I know you're dead when you walk this way. And it's a very common habit, but it's like,
I'm
it's
done.
worth noting immediately, like,
Coming back.
just how quickly
I'm
you
done
can
with
tell
that
things will go wrong.
That's right.
On our left stack.
And from here, we're like end fight though.
I'm
It's
by-
just
I'm by our
you
TP,
cap
there's
zone one
one
time,
there
you will
left.
probably
One
win the
left.
game.
Right, exactly. Brush on their snipe.
Brush.
Not on left close.
Brush on their
Brush.
snipe.
Oh, okay, there is a call in the brush. I was about to say. Okay. So yeah, you know where everyone hears at this point. Splash, passive, nod, splash.
Not on
and
left
then
close.
You know there's 2 calls here. guys.
Checking zone now.
2 in zone.
I'll have crab here.
Nice strike.
I'm using crab here. Trying to crab.
Keep it on the crab though. Don't
Two
don't
in zone.
don't
I'll
throw it
crab
to the
here, I'll
zone. Just
crab
get this
here.
crab out. If this crab rolls bottom
I'll
right,
use
they're
the crab here.
screwed. Don't even like. If he trades you here, it's bad. If you throw a strike and then he walks away, that's better. Like priority number 1 is just get the crab out of your face. Get your team in. Like not
Okay.
even just for you. This guy needs to go in. Like right here,
Okay, crab.
because they're gonna have another set of strikes soon. So
Got
like
one.
you clear this immediately.
Yeah, they're
No, on left, no, on left.
I'm using
But also
crab
same
here.
thing. Like
Trying to
once you have
crab.
this advantage, don't play risky. Especially because you play T-Tech. Like Tri-Strike isn't the most powerful special, but you're very good at getting a lot of it. Once you throw it, you're already building another. Like especially
Got
because you
one.
also got a kill with it.
Yeah,
Like
they're
look at
dead.
your meter. You're already 3 bars, and you just used your special. Like overtime passive special advantage if they cap zone 15 seconds. you'll have another set of strikes if you stay alive.
They're
Not on left, not on left.
Left.
They're freezer.
Hit once.
They're only 2 up.
Okay, your team's gonna try to fight
Flank
this.
left, flank left closed, flank left closed.
Not behind.
I'm just gonna.
Okay,
Flank
quick
left,
question.
flank left closed, flank left closed.
What's priority here?
So I want to make sure that my team doesn't die to the flank, but that we have at least 1 or 2 players looking forward to prevent a retake from happening in the last 5 seconds.
Okay. Honestly, don't worry about the zone flip. If they flip zone and this Nod dies, you guys will be fine. If the Nod gets a kill on you, their team will flip zone, and it'll be a problem. They're going to throw everything at the zone anyway. The Nod here is priority. Because if the Nod takes this side, you guys can't affect the zone anyway. Like, you guys are out of it. And because you're dead, you don't have a lot of pay on the zone. You have a bucket and an E-liter. Trying to outpaint these 3 weapons with you gone is not happening.
Not behind.
Unless if their team just does not paint.
Not we got him.
See, there we go. It's like, once the Nod's dead, your left stack is now safe. You have a spot to crab, you have a spot to strike, you have a spot to wave breaker, you have the ability to contest zone to buy more time for your team, you have the ability to give a super jump if one player goes down. Everything. This is like a foothold. If you lose the foothold, you have to work to get that back and then the zone back. But if you hold this and lose zone, you just go for the zone.
Not we got him.
If you have a map
I'm
of like
down.
Scorch, this will be a better thing to
Breaker?
talk about actually.
2 pushing left closed.
We do actually
Yeah,
have
we got
Scorch.
one.
Nice, that's
Yes.
why.
Nice cat though. Let me find it.
Yeah, tower
Yes.
tower
Oh
Scorch.
yes, this is perfect. This is my favorite map mode example to
Because
talk
then you
about
get the
maps.
benefit of the maps that are good on some modes but not others.
Yeah, not me. Muscle.
And then after, I'll discuss this with Scorch and then I'll move to the 52 game because it's already been 50 minutes. So I
Yeah,
wanna be able to
sorry.
get to the other weapon you do. Oh no, all good. This is
self.
how it should be. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna spoil part of my map design video. Like, or kind of a big part of it. The big reason why Splatoon 3 maps are bad is because the entire map is a choke point. So what do I mean by this, right? Like, if we have an overhead of like, we don't have an overhead of Scorch. Let me.
Send it at /plans.
Yeah, I will pull this up on another tab.
Yet another tab.
Okay. And it's drawing this, I don't even know. Let's do tower, for example, right? Right, so like, for example, choke, 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 and then mirrored choke, choke, choke. And then technically you could even go further and label more of them if you want, but at minimum here, like relevant to the objective, there are 6 chokes here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even Mako is similar to some extent. The stacks are kind of choke points, they're just easier to skip, and that's kind of what we'll talk about. That's like a concept to get out there. And this, again, going to spoil a lot of the maps video I'm doing, but whatever. There are 2 ways to deal with the choke point. You know what they are?
2 ways to deal with a choke point. Overwhelming force or circumventing them.
Spot on. Yeah, circumventing or skipping is the term I would use.
Yeah.
So, like, say the enemy team is...
Circumnavigating was the word I was thinking.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes
Going
sense.
around
there
them.
You go, perfect. So, like, if they're set up here, you have the option to either, like, crab, run them away, or, go behind, win the fight, and like, skip around it entirely. Like, if you wipe them, you can skip this choke point, skip this choke point, and go set up here. Like, this is something Last Resort does a lot, because we have to. Like, with the QR comp, you have to play it. That's the whole point of, like, our double Splatana thing, is to skip choke points. If we cannot do that, then we will just, like, because we're going to lose on the brute force category.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the teams we're fighting will have 2 splash, 2 machine. They will have more brute force than us. We are not going to win like that. And so you have to play for those skips. And so, Mako Mart was, like, somewhat similar there in terms of what I was trying to point out. Is like, where's my pen? You need this before you can get this. And so if you lose this, you also lose this. And you have to, like, fight to get stack back. You cannot just walk on a stack and take it. You have to fight to get this back. And you need this or this. Sorry, different color. You need this or this to take this 9 times out of 10. You need one of these two. And so that's why it's a priority, because they're basically, if they kill you here and force you off a zone that way, they skip the zone. They now have this immediately, and now their team's really set up. They now have this whole line under control, and suddenly that's way harder than if they just had this and you had here, right?
That makes sense.
And so, and this is every map. This is not just Scorch. Scorch is just an easy one to visualize. Hammerhead, Wahoo World, Rhinewater, Inkblot outside of Tower Control and Clan Blitz. Like 70% of the maps in the game are the exact same. Like they all function with this choke point, and it creates everything. The whole idea that you have to work hard or like skip these key areas and you have to fight for them. Like really hard have to fight for them. And so that's something that's worth keeping in mind in terms of how you approach things. And you kind of like the idea of being able to see what choke points you have to fight for and what to skip. And it also helps you identify key areas of the map. Like for Wahoo World, for example, right? To contest zone, what part of the map do you like almost always need?
Your own plat.
Like this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to get here, then you need to get here. So it's like, fine, here, you work this choke point, you get this one, and then you don't want to sit here, so you push through the third choke point up there.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, it's the same concept. If you win a fight here, it's really good to push up this far because you're skipping that.
Changed.
Oh wait, this is not the 52 game. This is the 52 game.
Don't go around blind corners.
Okay.
But
It's not going around a blind corner. It's being within Hydra range of a blind corner.
Hydra.
Oh, they have an Octobrush
And
now.
you have a sword
well,
now.
I'm gonna go
Nice.
this
Okay.
I will always
all
spread
have
the sword
self-jump.
propaganda, so I'm down for this.
Alright, I'm gonna hover around right side. Oh, one really weak already? Got him? This was I had a read that Devi is the Hydra player on the other team. They pulled her in as a sub when they lost one of their players. And I had a read that Devi was going to try and drop left because she's talked before about liking to do that on the Hydra. And so that's what I'm warning my team about at the beginning of the game, that like don't peek that corner on left because there might be a Hydra with charge behind it.
Yeah, that's a risky play, but good benefit if it works, obviously. So yeah.
Hover around right side. We do end up, I think, spotting her out on plat, which she probably did because she was anticipating that I would tell people she was going to do that.
Okay, so to talk about 52, I'm going to talk about Junior. I promise this will make sense, okay? Or specifically a part about Junior I'm going to talk about is Big Bubble, right? And understanding what makes a bubble really good will help you with the wall. I know this sounds backwards, but I promise it'll loop around eventually. Okay, so what positions is Bubble best in?
Central high ground.
Okay.
Places where you could fight really well if you were invincible. Because like places where like you don't have a lot of cover, but you also have, it's a powerful position. Powerful meaning you have good sight lines for your weapon.
Yes. So it's a smart spot you could be, but if you go there normally, you get shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, Sturgeon's a good example. I can pull this up again. If we go to Sturgeon Shipyard zones, you know where the bubble gets placed on this map, right? Right here. Every time. It's always here. And basically, I think it's another thing you've talked about. I remember a lot of your videos, I promise. No Man's Land, right? I remember this is why you've used Sturgeon, but Sturgeon's the perfect example. This is No Man's Land. It's in the middle of every sightline, flank, under the map, everything in the game. So it's like terrible to stand there. But if you can stand there and not explode in the first second, it's actually insanely useful. Because you can hit everything. You know, you can clear snipe and all that stuff. That's the idea of bubble. And the risk is, of course, you know, you have to have a junior go here before the bubble goes out, and they have to, you know, hopefully not die. Wall, to some extent, is kind of the same thing. normally, if I was watching your
I'm gonna
T-Tech
hover
and you
around,
went
right?
here, I'd be like, oh god, what are you doing? You are absolutely screwed. You're gonna get pinned in this corner. You're gonna get 80 burst bombs thrown on you. The Hydra's gonna kill you. When you're 52, it's like, oh,
Side.
yep, that splash is just, they just lose.
Oh, one really
They're
weak
dead.
already?
Because you have wall.
Mm-hmm.
And so wall is not as
Got it.
powerful as bubble, but it works in a sense of a one-way area. If it's like an area of no man's land, but it's only from one angle, then your wall covers that angle and you can stand there. And that is basically this weapon's positioning to a T. The other thing you do is you play a side angle, like say you could drop right, and then if they focus you, you just throw your wall and you stall with wall and you pull 2 people and your team 3v2s, right? Either one of those work. But it's the same concept. This weapon just plays around wall for everything. And it plays around wall to play in positions that other shooters and other weapons in general can't play in. Well, Brella was supposed to, but I can't anymore.
Drop.
Big sad.
Debbie just
Behind
went
me,
black.
behind me.
Brella's supposed to drop right and be able to do things, and unfortunately it doesn't.
All free right mid, right mid.
I tunnel a little bit there. That was...
Happened once.
All free right mid.
Good idea for the flank, but it's too long
Right,
at
right.
this point. It's not painted already, so it takes
I'm
you too
down.
much to get
Jump
there.
Only got me flat.
Yeah, I think I misjudged my range a little bit in thinking that I can hit those
Behind me.
shots before I actually can.
Happened once.
All
And we're also kind of thinking about the map in terms of how we do in every other mode, but this is Clan Blitz and it's different.
Drop.
The reason it's different is this block on the left side exists. In
Yeah.
every other
Yeah,
mode
behind
on
me,
this
behind me.
map, you need to go get the right side. Like, that's the one part of the map that's required. That's, like, the one thing that makes the map not really, like, it's still a very, very good map, but that's the one part of the map that's kind of design-wise. It's like, you always have to go here. Everything's always here, because there's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
In this map, they kept the part of Splatoon 1 that prevented you from doing that and actually have a flank. So instead of having to approach and rush this right side with 3 people, this left side is empty. Like, completely empty. You can just walk here, sit and cover, and then if they don't look, you just jump, you're on their plane. Or even if you swim under, you just wall jump, you're up here. And then you can circumnavigate it. But it's like, normally the map plays... I gotta stop closing Sendu, man. You know, normally this map is like this, right? This is the
Yeah.
line people move on. On Clan Blitz, this line is broken, and also like what makes it good is the fact that you can go here and kind of skip that main line. Like you can go here, and occasionally you can go here, which right side will kill you if you do that usually, but it's there. But on Clan Blitz, you also get access to this. And this, like, you see how much of that line gets cut off? Like, how much of this red line is skipped just by moving that? That is what makes flanks like these so powerful. Like, they're quick, and they get you into good spots fast. So always worth being aware of. Like, it's similar, TC Inkblot is another thing. Like, TC Inkblot's like the map mode everyone loves. They like it because it has qualities of a good map, which is the block. It's the same block idea. Normally the map goes like this.
I'm getting a phone call, and it might be important. Do you mind if I step off for just like 2 minutes to make sure?
You are all good, yeah, of course.
Yeah, be right back.
Alright, hi chat. What do you guys want to talk about? Actually, I don't know if you guys can hear me. So I think I might be gone. But if I'm not gone, hello. We can. I guess I'll do a mini Splatoon Q&A to try to fill time. We'll entertain while Jem is gone. What do you guys, is there anything you want to talk about? Or anything, any questions you want to have or anything like that so I can help you all out? 1v1 sessions usually go? Kind of. It can vary based on the person and like what their goals are, and this is like a team environment, so it's different. What kit do you want to range? Splat Bomb Zip or Splat Bomb Stamp if they make Stamp good? I just want it to be fun. At this point, I just say Splat Bomb Stamp, and I hope it to be fun, and my dreams of a competitively good range blaster are out the window until they buff Tactical. Touch your tips, play angles, keep things on the side. You think Gem is short for Gemothy? I have no idea. Okay, Zip for Octobrush. It's the best Zip, like, it's the weapon that can get the most out of Zipcaster. It's just kind of the main weapon isn't, like, the best thing in the world right now, but it's good, mostly because it can take advantage of the jump height and get some really nice angles and can still kill quickly.
Sorry, I'll be right back. So I guess you can keep it. You were already doing Q&A.
All good. I'll talk to chat.
There's a package that went to the wrong building in the apartment complex, and they're closing the office in like 5 minutes. So I'm
yeah.
not gonna get this package for the next like weekend unless I go and grab it right now. So
Yeah,
I'll be back in like 3 minutes.
Good. It's fine. Okay. Zip Splash. Yeah, I'd be fine with Zipcaster on Splash. I think if any shooter gets it, it would be Splash, because the alternative is Squeezer, and that's scary. And I don't want to think about a Squeezer with Zipcaster, so let's hope they don't realize that's a combination they can do. They probably will. They use 52 strengths. It's mostly wall and playing the angles and like playing those spots that you normally can, as well as knowing what 1v1s to pick with weapons that don't have bombs or wall damage to the point where they can't fight you. Wiper tips, you are playing like a toucher. Run QR, play angles, but also play under ledges. Use your strafe speed and normal slashes. Don't go too close for charge slashes, especially since that is more unlike than Stamper. You know, there's a Twitch chat too. I do, but I do not have both open, so I am sorry. Twitch chat, I do not see you. My apologies. Collected mind while playing. It's something that just takes experience with, but it's mostly noticing when you are not doing that and like being aware of it. Tips for Stamper, use horizontal slash more. People do not use horizontal slash. Every Stamper I watch uses a charge slash too much. Every single one of them. What other video game would benefit from Splatoon's movement and weapon mechanics with no other change? Honestly, require a ton of tweaking, but I think Overwatch with everyone having crazy movement could be so fun. It would require way more tweaking than just putting the movement in the game, so it doesn't really fit the question. But like, oh my god, like some of the Overwatch characters would be so fun with this game's movement options. It's not even funny. Heavy tips, don't focus on the other backline, focus on keeping out the other front lines. You are just bullying and keeping them away with your main weapon, and then especially with Wavebreaker. How do you buff Cooler? Probably bomb defense right now, because burst bomb spam is becoming a problem, and it's kind of been one, and splat bomb spam will be in the future, because that sub is way too good. And people don't know about it, because nobody is picking any splat bomb weapons right now, because none of them are amazing, except T-Tech. And T-Tech's not even that amazing. We're good Flingza players to watch. Ice and Gray are good when they flex to it, but I don't think anyone at top level like Solo does Flingza, and I'm not aware of any Japanese Flingza players. L3 needs Burst Bomb. It needs Burst Bomb. Relatives picking up despite being bad right now. Try to play around taking advantage of your shield. Do not use your Sprinkler if you're anywhere near a fight. Ink efficiency is a big one. The other players to watch, Ice. He doesn't really upload or stream much, though, because he's had some PC difficulties, but he is the gold standard for Charger gameplay. I would also recommend Q. They do have a Twitch. I believe it's .q, spelled Q-U-E-U-E, I believe. They'll stream eventually. 1 second, chat. What do you mean by play angles? Like sides. Like, what's an easy example? Scorch. Like, here. I hate that. Here. Here's a good side angle. You draw people here, so your team walks in and kills them. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, Power is another good one. Go watch Power. Ricky beat you, I'm in a 1v1. I do not care for 1v1s. This is a 4v4 game. 1v1s are pointless. They do not matter. The judge of who can win a 1v1 does not matter. It is the most... It's like almost completely irrelevant. What kit would Squeezer need? Squeezer could get a bunch of different things. It doesn't need a specific thing. Like, a bunch could work with it. It's not even bad right now. It's just difficult with Zuka and Wall. It's very situational for comps, but, like, it's not even... Like, even right now, it's totally fine. I'm doing stream reward, though? Yes, that's because viewers like it, and I'm entertaining for people. That's it. I just do it to entertain chat. I do not take any value from it. If you 1v1 me and beat me and you take value from that, good for you. I just do it for fun. Because I needed channel point rewards and I did not have a lot of things. I use a capture card, Elgato HD60S. I'm not sure what gem uses, and there's other options out there. Would you recommend as a backliner coach? I'm not sure. There's not too many backliners who do coaching on Metafy. It's like, if you want a specific charger player or something, then yeah, there's not. What's Ice's Twitch? It's _IceAngel22 _, I believe. You could probably just search up IceAngel22 and find him on Twitter, and then from there you could just message him about it. Or like add him or something, I don't know.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
They were momming me for running over there in shorts. Context, it is -5 degrees outside.
Oh my god, yeah. No, don't worry, I do the same thing. Detroit was like cold at night, and I'm the only person in the venue wearing shorts because I just do not care.
Yeah.
So,
They're good people. I like them. Anyway, so we were talking about choke points on Scorch Gorge, I think? If you weren't in the process of answering a question.
oh, I was talking to, I was just telling, like, Tetra angles and drawing people to the sides is kind of the main thing.
Gotcha.
We can go back to where we were.
I'm down.
Oh, right. We were not
flat.
talking about Scorch angles. We were talking about
Yeah,
the
we got
52.
past that part.
Oh,
I went back to illustrate a different things.
Octopus are right.
Fresh.
Dead.
Still mid.
Yeah, like, I know, like, before you left, I did a bit of a rant on the map design and stuff like that, but it's because, like, I'm not just telling these things to kind of illustrate, like, yep, these maps suck, guys. It's more like, okay, these maps suck, but also this is how you have to play them, so keep in mind this is how you exploit them. Because I feel like a lot of players will immediately jump on maps bad, and that's probably what takeaway from my maps video is going to be, even if I don't want it to be. But it's also worth noting, like, how play changes around these maps. Because, like, how you play in Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 is different, and the maps are a big part of the reason. And so being aware of, like, how you have to approach the majority of maps based on how they're designed, even if poorly, is really, really worth learning. It'll give you a lot more insight into the options that are picked, and it'll especially help with a lot of, like, understanding why maps are played in tournament, and how teams play them, and how counterpicks work. But, like, in this case, it's like, this map is good. This map mode's really good, and it breaks the design of every other Splatoon 3, of, like, 90% of the other Splatoon 3 maps. And so it's like, okay, this is now an option that usually you're not going to think about, but you have to be aware of, because it's not just, oh, they put a block here. It's, okay, this now completely changes how the map can be played. We must work around this. Similar reason to why a lot of people struggle with Flounder. Because you cannot play Flounder like a Splatoon 3 map, you will get run over immediately, and then you will get locked out for the entire game.
I have a zip here.
Hydra.
Not that it's not without problems, but worth noting.
Flat, focus left, nice.
Got one.
Low ball.
I'm dropping right side.
I'm moving up the pressure, Debbie. I missed. Fuck.
You're good.
You're good. We've got 4
Oh,
specials.
there's two right side.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still kind of just wandering here. Like, I think you're
right side.
probably thinking of trying to push up the spinner, right?
Yeah, at first I'm trying to, like, get a wall on the edge of it so that I can push all the way up there and decide whether it's safe to jump or not.
Pressure, Debbie.
But I don't end up finding that angle, and so I'm trying to
We
paint
got
up and
4
threaten the
specials.
block.
There's two
And
right
then
side.
I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
nobody's gone for a fight yet. We have a bunch of specials. Like, let's go for something. And I think I rush into the
4
crab here.
specials.
Well, you do rush into the crab, but even if you didn't, your team is going to lose this fight. What's the problem with your team's positioning right now?
We've got. Let's see. So that's Amina. Okay. So Astra's on plat behind us, and then we've got one in mid, one right, one left. Are we? Is it that we're 2 split up?
Actually, kind of the opposite. You're all kind of in one spot here. These 3 people are all together in one location. So the second they pop Booyah Bomb and crab, everyone's getting hit by it. Everyone's moving. You're down, but like even if you don't go down, you lose this entire side. They're taking top.
shot by
They're gonna
crab.
Booyah Bomb plat and cut people off, and they just walk in. And now, like this whole area where your whole team was standing, now everyone goes different ways, and everything's split. Now they have the entire middle of the map.
Okay.
So that's why playing angles
this
is
is-
good, because you need to draw attention with this weapon. You're not going to poke a backline. You don't have a bomb anymore. The only thing you can use to poke a backline is a whale, and even then you're not going to use it for that unless if your team is pushing. Because there's no point in just throwing a whale at a backline and not doing anything with it. They'll just strafe 2 inches to the left. Even a Hydra can deal with a whale. So you have to play an angle that actually draws
Dude, this is
attention.
right side.
Yeah,
And so for you specifically, you don't draw anyone away so that all the resources go on your team and it
I got
overruns you
shot
guys.
by crab.
Okay.
I'm gonna fly.
They're trying to push. I'm popping the breaker here.
Yeah, use the specials when we can get them. There's one on top mid. Watch the grates.
I backed up.
Good to keep an eye out for that, but you have nowhere to use your wall here. Like,
Yeah.
you drop
There's
here,
one-
you want to use wall, but there's nothing for it. If you're gonna go in without wall, probably
trying to
just
push.
play for whale
I'm
first
popping
at least,
breaker
since you have
here. Yeah,
paint
you-
here, and then you can whale up here and drop with that, and at least have like some form of tracking.
Use the specials when we can get
But like,
there's one
your
What I could have
wall
probably
can't
done is
help you here.
walled from above, so that it
Try
landed
push.
closer to
I'm
me,
popping
and when I
breaker.
dropped
use
behind
the
it, I would
specials
actually
when
be
we-
shielded.
There's
Because
one
from
on-
here, if I
kinda,
let
but-
the wall out, it's just gonna hit the side.
Even here, the wall's kind of susceptible. Like, people can go around left, right, someone could drop, someone could roll here, throw a bomb. Like, it's still difficult to play around your wall. Versus, like, the start of the game where you threw your wall, you didn't have to worry about anyone playing an angle.
Top
Like,
mid,
you
watch the
knew your
grates.
wall was fine, so you threw it out immediately. It's like, here there's
back-
so much risk to getting your wall set up that becomes difficult.
down.
Or even, like, forget bombing the wall. They can throw a suction behind you, and then you walk in front of the wall. Like, there's so many different options they have
Hydra
here.
on plat now. They've
So
got
is
one-
that? Would you say that was too
Top mid.
early to go in, or that it was
They're trying
good
to push.
timing and just
I'm
executed
popping the
poorly?
breaker here.
Yeah, use the
If you had whale, you could go in here, but
Specials
I would
when
say
you
it's
can
too
get it.
early. That's not the main problem, though. The timing isn't the thing here, it's the position. Because your whole team is just walking
There's one
at their
on top
team,
mid,
and
watch
they have a
the grates.
Hydra. You will not walk forward at a Hydra without a special. They will just shoot you.
backed up.
There's no way you're forcing this through, especially with this amount of cover. What I would have liked to see you do is actually go left and try to play the left side of spinner, set up your wall there, because there you get better of an angle. Whale now comes from the side, also
Okay.
going to be better at that angle. And then your team pushes front and you're not in the same spot. You force them to pick between the two. You can even drop all the way behind them. But like, either way, you are just taking them away.
when we
Because
can
here
get-
they just
there's
want to focus front. They're
one
just
on
trying to
top
move
mid,
in.
watch
So
the
it's like the
grates.
same thing here. They
back-
kill you and they're already set up to go forward. There's no
down
delay.
on left.
Unless if they walk backward.
That makes a lot of sense now
Hydra
that I
on-
think about it, because I was thinking like, okay, if I put the wall up like right under where the 10 is on screen, then like I don't have the range to shoot anybody from behind that wall. So what's the point? But the point is that I could shoot at someone if they tried to go right, and that I can farm for whale in the meantime.
And if they ignore you, you're just going to go behind them. Like,
Yeah.
you will make them have to care about you.
On plat now. They've got the clam.
This brush is pushing me. Right by our
Right,
right by our
great.
wall.
Flash.
Dead.
Good job.
Dead.
It's a big kill.
Corner block.
I'm going over top mid. I'm behind them.
Watch out.
Like, even here, you don't play the angle, but your teammate does. Like, they go left and around. Like, they cut this off. And that separates
Top
these
mid, I'm
two for
behind
you.
them.
Watch out. This
Hydra
is-
below.
Keep that
And the
on
Hydra
me.
just from the top ropes, I did not even notice that.
I'm sorry.
Got the
That's
jump.
hilarious.
There's Hydra still on plat.
There's
T-Dex still below us. T-Dex still below us. T-Dex still below us.
Flash it.
Basket, yeah.
Got
I
him.
missed
Sure.
a lot of shots, but we get them.
Yeah, I mean, they just need
Hydra
to go
is
down
backing
there
up
at
the
this
mid.
point. You need to move forward. But
Like,
once you get the kill, go. Like, you get the kill and you kind of hesitate. Like, throw wall, paint, start taking space. Don't
Hydra
wait
is
for them
backing
to
up the mid.
reset up.
I know that the Hydra
Okay.
is there, so I'm trying to get information on where they are before I push up.
Hydra is backing up.
Yeah, and that's why you wall first. Like, you wall and then you shoot, and if the Hydra pops up, he shoots your wall, and you go back and cover, and you're fine. And then you burn the Hydra charge.
Mid.
Like, you don't just, like, you kind of just walk in, you have nothing here. So now when the Hydra shoots, you have to
Okay.
move. You wall and you paint. In this case, the wall is substituting for a bomb in the way in terms of retake, because getting your whale is actually kind of hard on this weapon. Less so because they made it 190p for some reason, but, like, still, you don't have a bomb, so you don't have a way to move people. So rather than moving people, you have to force yourself into a location you normally can't, and then use your main weapon to paint, which is still slower, but it's better than nothing. Because, like, here you earn, like, no whale charge. It's like you're no closer to moving that Hydra than you were at the start.
One right mid as well. Just grabbing clams. What's that chicken, Coffee?
I know.
Yeah, on left.
I was kind of hoping that the booyah would hit the wall there.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Spinner. One on block.
Traded.
Going to pass.
One below our basket.
Good
Got
jump.
one. Got
Nice.
two.
Flash.
Got
Got
the quad's
three.
coming.
Last one left.
Oh, no,
That's
they're
fine.
running.
Thank you.
Where's the brush?
But they're hiding.
Mid.
Rip the quad.
They
Right
dropped.
side, right side, right side,
Alright,
right
hey
side.
now.
Dropping right side.
There you
There
go.
they are.
Let's keep copy.
A couple on their plat already.
Still below.
Oh,
Rush
okay,
down
you
me
just
around
didn't
mid.
see them. Okay, that's
A
fine.
couple on their plat already.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate because
Still
it was
Fire
seen,
block,
but we just
okay.
missed it. That happens sometimes. It's fine.
Yeah, like I knew that there was the player
I'm gonna
behind
fire.
mid, but I
block, okay.
figured they were backing up, and that was not an assumption that was safe.
Okay. I talked a lot about Splatoon 3's map design and exploiting it. What's a way you can do so right now?
Go out on the right.
Yeah. Why?
Because with 2 down, they're going to push up to our plat, and so if I drop down there, I get access to like the backside of ramp or something like that. Or
Yeah.
well, I can also cut off the block.
You can prevent this from being an option. You can go back through here if things get dicey on your plat. You have an angle. You might force people to turn around. If they go for you, they can't push plat. That makes 3v3, and you can do really well in 1v1s because you're a wall weapon. All of that's really nice.
Oh, I'm dead.
Right now,
I'm
the
fire.
most difficult part for your team is getting an angle on them because they're
fair.
keeping you in front. And for any backline, but especially Hydra, you want to keep the enemy in front of you. If they're in front of you, you get to charge safely, you get to fire, you throw a Booyah Bomb and you hit everything. Like, you displace their whole team with one special. Everything is in your favor there. And so for a team like their team is playing really
I'll
well
hold
for
left side, you guys
dealing
can
with
push right.
Hydra because they're doing a great job keeping you guys in front of them. Like, even if they can't push, they are ensuring you guys are stuck. And that's what they want.
Spinner.
Watch out, zip on us.
Front spinner, triple spinner.
I hit him once, but they're hanging back. They're below, they're going to go on the block, be careful.
Wall, then whale. If you throw another wall, you'll move the first wall first. Always wall first. if you have the
Wailing,
ink tank
going
player.
in on left.
In general, this is something you can do with 52, and it's something that I believe Twig does a lot. Like, Twig, what Twig will do is, like, he'll wall here, like maybe in a fight with a T-Tech, and he'll wait for his whale, and then when his wall's about to die, he'll pop whale. His wall will tank, you know, the whale startup animation, and then he'll just have another and he'll throw it. And then you have to break another wall and you lose. And so if you have a whale, you basically have 2 walls. And that's really powerful, because that negates, like, any bomb weapon from being able to deal with it. So if you're trying to push out with that, it's always something to keep in mind. It's a very powerful option, but it's not intuitive
Watch the block.
either. Like, it's something you have to learn.
Hydra on ramp. Hydra down.
And I
that's
miss all of
down.
my
Sorry,
shots.
bad.
Down.
Hydra on ramp.
It's all good.
I-
Like, here you don't... You kind of just focus on the kill, but you have a teammate here anyway. Just wall. Tank his shot. Tank their shots. Like, if your teammate will come in and help, or at the very least, if your Hydra shoots you, they're going to be keeping themselves here and they'll get cut off. Like, your Stamper can even just paint around them. Like, anything there is fine. You more just rush the 2v1 instead of just, like, playing your life and just keeping their attention.
Hydra down. No, not down. Sorry, my bad.
Down.
And your sword will...
I hit-
sword gets picked up.
I missed 2 shots of them as well, you're fine.
I say it preemptively
Sorry.
sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
One topper
Spinner,
spinner.
spinner. Flash. Got flash. Another one spinner.
Now we go
Rush
for
on
it.
me.
Trying to go
Nice.
up block.
Spinner, full spinner.
I'm dead here, I'm so sorry. Watch out. T-Tex
Yeah,
over my
this-
Wall to paint. Always wall to paint.
Hydra there. I need to jump actually.
Also, don't do this.
Watch out.
Just try to wall and stay here, or like walk backward.
Yeah,
At this
Hydra
point,
there.
like
I need
if you
to-
have a retreat option, this is just going to take you out of the game. And you're also holding an angle. Like, yes, you're getting
dead here,
damage and
I'm
it's
so
very
sorry.
scary. But look at this. They're shooting you. They're throwing burst bombs at you.
So watch
They're
out,
throwing suction bombs at
T-Tex
you.
over-
Every one of those things is not being thrown here anymore. Like, the pressure on your teammates is being alleviated. You're a player down and they can't move because they're having to throw everything in their arsenal on you. That is huge right now. They should be pushing, but they can't.
There's Hydra
You
there.
keep that
I need to
attention.
jump,
The second
actually.
you jump out, okay, resource gone. Push. They're gonna just walk in.
Top spinner.
I've got
Yeah,
whale
well-
ready.
And now the main thing is, like, now you can't go back there as easily, or like ideally you shouldn't be able to go back there because someone on their team can just walk there now. Now you lose that angle. And so even though you backed up and kept yourself alive, you're now in a harder situation than if you tried to fight that out.
Okay.
Got it.
Wailing. Rush in front of me. Got him.
And nice
Well,
Another one
well.
on me. Got him.
Nice.
There's watch out my
Hydra's
splash,
backing
pill,
up the
pill,
mid.
pill.
You take
Oh,
behind.
The other thing to note here, again, like, on most maps, you're going to have to push through one area. But here, you don't need to. Like, you can leave them left and go right, and that's fine. You can do either approach here, but
Brush
it's
in
just
front of me.
worth noting you
Got
have that
him.
option because
He's
your
behind
guys
me.
have been so focused on clearing them away from left for so long that you guys are
Got him.
immediately always
There's
walking
one-
there. Even with here, you don't need to. If you walk right, you cut off their Hydra, and you get a position to take space and all that. But you guys have been like so focused for the past 3 minutes on clearing left that
I
you're
just
all
backing up
just
the
gonna
mid.
go there.
Phil, watch out for the splash, Phil.
Behind you, Jimmy, up.
You at least cut them off here, which is good, but it's like
Yeah, I
a little
know.
bit. It's a hard fight at this point. You still win
That
it,
was
but
bait.
at that
I'm
point, it's
sorry,
like
I
it
can't.
could have been an easier engagement for you to have.
Hit anything.
No, you're good. Good.
Why am I
There's
doing
one,
this?
right.
Just don't. In general,
I'm sorry, I can't.
this should
hit
not be the option to go for just in general because it's in the middle. Even if it's a nice jump and you get there, it's great. It's just very easy to see.
anything.
No, you're good.
Like I would much rather you get this control here.
Why am I
There's
doing
one, there's
this?
one right side, one right side.
They spawned in and got me. Octopus
I
made
could definitely see like where you're struggling with this weapon because outside of the start of the game, I feel like you just position with 52 like you do with T-Tech. And it seems like not that big a difference, but the bomb for a wall just changes everything in terms of where you stand. And so it's like I think for you, if you're gonna focus 52, I think like figuring out how to play around angles to get your wall off of, or knowing like valuable spots you can't stand in with T-Tech is going to be something you need to like be aware of and take advantage of more. Because if you don't play around those things, you're just going to get less value than your average T-Tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like that weapon will at least like it'll bomb, it'll get a special faster, and it's just more flexible. 52 is less
was,
flexible,
right,
but it's
uh,
really
the
good at
rat-
what it does. But you have to play to what it's good at, or it's not worth playing.
I got bomb. There's one on the right, mid.
Because like right here is a good example. Like playing like this, a T-Tech will just do the same thing better, right?
Pushing left. Brush. I got the brush.
Like a T-Tech can play the spot, but also throw a bomb at like a crab or a Hydra on top mid. You know?
Yeah.
There's a crab top mid.
Whereas there, I could have just like put a wall in and gone in to help the fight on left.
Yeah. Like if we back up a bit,
Still pushing left.
you can go far left and play that angle. Like you can just play here, and this guy then can just back up into this corner, and you can play left here with a wall, and they cannot go for one of you, or the other one will kill them. If they go for you, they shoot a wall and they get shot. If they go for this guy, you move and you shoot them. Like you create like a bad like they have an option on the other team, but both of the options suck, so they can't pick either of them, and that lets you hold like map control.
Still pushing
Because like
left. Brush.
here, your stamper just walks backward and they get picked off. And then same
Got
thing
the brush.
in terms of retreating. Like they're now already here because your stamper just walked backward.
There's a crab top mid, though I am dead. I'm not dead.
And fun little tidbit. This is also why QR is really good. Because if you walk to the side, take them to the side and die, and you come back faster, you might be able to get back before they walk where they want to go. Small little thing.
Grab over.
Two drop off mid.
This is good though. Like you see how you wall and you're
Alright,
painting
I'm gonna
forward.
whale at ramp.
Like this is better.
Two drop off
Like
mid.
rather than being afraid of the Hydra, you're
No,
sitting
no.
here, you're walling, and then you can
Alright,
paint
I'm
out.
gonna whale at ramp.
Like if
Let's
anything,
get
just shark less. Like get paint. Paint this here. Be ready to drop here.
in there.
Have that option ready.
Oh my god. I
Up
just
the-
ran into.
Still left mid. The Hydra. There's brush left
Alright,
mid.
there we go.
Isn't
Brush
it-
spot back mid.
Like this is good. Like right here. You don't even have
we
the
go,
wall,
brush
but
spot.
you see the power this
Back
angle
mid.
provides right here. Look at their team. See that? Like your bucket just walks in. They're like, I don't want to pick one in, and they run away. And now you have this here. No specials how to be used. Nothing. They just gave you a part of the map.
Striking out the flag.
And now this is really good.
I'm on their plat.
Like, this is now a much better situation, and because you didn't have to use your specials for this part of the map, now you still have tri-strike. Like, now your strike goes out, you can walk forward on the right, get a
one.
kill. All of that just flows so nicely. Just from that one tiny positioning difference here, set up this entire thing. It snowballs
Behind
that
us?
fast.
Oh, flanking behind.
Got one.
Whaling.
Nice, well.
There we go.
Oh, you guys
One on
got
left.
this.
Rush.
No,
Got
I
him.
didn't get there in time.
Oh my god.
T-Tech
There's
in
a power
front.
climb right below there.
Oh,
You score that?
nice.
Ooh, wow.
I was like, nah, you guys are, after that play, you guys deserve that game. You are winning that game. Nice job. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So, apologize for going a little bit over. My bad.
Oh no, that's that. I wanted to apologize to you, like, cause I've paid for an hour of Chara's time. It has now been an hour and a half.
Oh no, don't worry. I literally always tend to go over a little bit. I'd rather go over than go under or like meet exactly. I don't like to have the time thing. I just worry about like if someone else plans a session, they have to go afterward. Then I try not to.
Yeah,
too long.
yeah. I always ask at the beginning because I'm like, I'm probably gonna go over. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So.
So a few things to point out in general that we covered so far. If we go to Mako first, a lot of the things I stressed, especially at the second half, were in terms of how the maps are designed, because that changes a lot about how you play. Recognizing the importance of footholds like this, and being able to keep control of these and why they matter, both in terms of like contesting an area, but also in terms of them functioning as choke points, is really important, because a lot of maps have examples of these that are worth playing. So if you can understand, like, recognize choke, choke, choke. Okay, that's there. Then you can look at another map and go, okay, mincemeat. Everyone loves this map, right? You know?
Yeah, it's our favorite.
Choke point. Choke point, choke point, choke point. Ah, everything is there. And then you recognize that, and that's good. So, learning that will help you for all other maps. And it's worth noting, like, do we contest a team here, or do we try to go around and circumnavigate it? Like, which one do we play? And then learning that is very important. In terms of your positioning specifically, it means that I want you more focused on these kind of key positions rather than sitting in the middle. You don't often want to be in the middle here. And so playing a different spot can often be worth a lot more. And at least like playing a position to like hold a side of the map, like controlling this side in that one example we did, even if it means you lose this side, is easier than having this. You know? Like at the very least you have a side of the map and you have a foothold to play around. And so something like that's really worth noting. The tri-strike thing we mentioned with lobbing strikes, still gonna stress that a lot. It depends. If you're throwing strikes and your team's walking in, you don't always need to do that. But if you're able to lob strikes and walk in with your own strikes as well and add a player to that, that can always be very valuable. And so keeping that in mind and learning how to lob strikes for that option is really valuable. Team communication in terms of like if you want to do a play and doing it together, like the crab up here, and having a call for that is really important, like for you or your teammates. If you want to make a play and it requires someone else, communicate it to them, like make it clear. And especially like if you're trying to coordinate specials, like you guys didn't really need that call. You guys had really good awareness at the top of the screen for your own specials from what I noticed from this game. Like calling, I'm close to tri-strike, let's tri-strike this and then go and crap here, you know? Like that's good information to make aware, because not everyone might be on the same page. And then also being aware of tri-strike, being able to like cut people off. Like if someone's here, you tri-strike here, you don't have to wait, and then you cut off anyone here, you find them, and then they're screwed because they don't have help. The ability to kind of like separate players like that could be really good. And then 52, we touched a bit more on like angles and flanks, like the ability to set up your wall and then force them to pick between like a teammate here and going for you, or same defensive position like here, they can't go for you without this guy helping. Or if they go for this guy, then the gal can go help them. Like, being split that little bit helps your 2v1s a lot, because it forces the enemy team into bad situations, and especially when you have a wall to add to that, it just makes some fights that are impossible for them to win. And if you're able to, like, get more fights, like, at the end of CB, Museum, like, if you're able to just
Right, there we go.
use better positioning to win fights without specials,
Back mid.
that will snowball fast. This is a big part of why Splatoon 3 is very snowbally, because a lot of teams will not understand the map design. They'll give up these choke points for free and not realize that by retreating, we're not being safer. We actually just made this fight way harder, and you guys capitalized off that. And understanding that kind of thing is so important to know, because this whole fight went in your favor because you were able to push up in mid. This whole part of the fight was in your favor the whole time. The thing that actually created that was just you walking to the left slightly. As crazy as that sounds, if they were able to hold this left side, I don't think you guys would have gotten this game. Because you would have needed to use too many specials to get here and not here. But that one small change to like how you position to force them out won you guys the whole match. And like understanding that aspect of the maps and how to play around it is so valuable. Like recognizing, okay, if like, you know, say you roll out on Scorch, for example, right? Had a similar example of another team with Gluga. Like if you have your Charger here and your 52 here with a wall and your other two players like here and here, you don't have to fight to get out of mid. You already have it and your resources can go here. Whereas if you weren't able to hold that and you have to put your resources here, your next fight over here becomes harder, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I realize you can't see me nodding, so yeah, I'm nodding.
Oh, yeah. I don't have. I didn't know you had a face cam because your stream didn't start with it. But oh wait, did you
I don't think I.
no,
Oh, it. What happened to it? Where did I go?
Yeah, it's not on. Maybe when you deafen, you.
There
turn it
I
off.
am.
I didn't realize you. Okay, there we go. Well, yeah. So this is just partly why I'm interested in the maps and interested in explaining it, because how the maps affect how the game plays. It's one on one. Like the map design determines how the games are played. And recognizing that is important. But I hope I was able to illustrate a good little bit of team coordination of individual value and how to swing fights in your favor and even make subsequent fights easier by winning the original fights in a way that requires less resources. So those were all the things I tried to communicate across. And if anything, if you want to ask any questions or have anything you want to elaborate on, just feel free.
The one thing that I'm curious to hear, were you able to see the ending of the Scorch Tower match?
I didn't. Let me take a look.
It was, so we get a very strong push to like 17 or something. 15, yeah. And then they are able to come back and 0 to 100. This has been a pattern. This has been a pattern that we have encountered a lot as a team, and so I was just interested to hear like a bullet point or two about exactly what's going wrong there, like how they're managing to snowball this.
Question: Does this happen on tower control or in every mode?
Tower control specifically. The other modes, yeah, I don't think this really happens on Rainmaker, and then the other modes, obviously, the objectives are in completely different places.
Just bottom left.
Okay.
Brush to our right.
Crab on left.
Okay. So good news.
Bottom left.
You didn't give up this choke point for free.
Brush
They
to our
grabbed.
right. Be careful.
Crab on
And they
left.
had to
Crab on
invest
Bring
left.
it back. Oh, I'm dead here.
You get a kill, the Zipcaster. It's fine. One player down, not the end of the world.
Both crabs on each other. One flash going to our pillow.
Okay. Small thing.
Oh, I'm dead here.
When holding for the second checkpoint and beyond, what's the important part of Scorch to control? Like, what defensively do you need to make sure the enemy team doesn't get to here?
The choke point that I'm in right here on screen, like between the snipe area and the far left.
Okay, that matters, but the crab forced you out. This spot's already gone. What other spot do you need to hold to avoid it from actually going out of control? There's another position that you can have that'll be that same kind of foothold that'll keep you guys able to fight on the second checkpoint.
The right plat.
Yeah, right here. If you guys lose here, you have to one-way drop or walk down a ramp, and it's so much harder. If you have this side, you have defensive high ground here, people in low ground here, you have the angles, you keep them in front, and you hold. And it's important because once the tower starts pushing, there's a jump available. And so making sure they do not make this jump is so important here. You do not want them getting across.
Both crabs on each other.
That will be a crab, that will be a heavy, that will be a wave breaker, that'll even just be a player with a wall, and it'll be a pain.
One flash going to our pillow.
That
Luckily,
makes
it's
a lot of
zip, so
sense,
they'll
and I
go
feel
away.
like we're not prioritizing that, and so we're getting locked out because we're stuck on our own high ground instead of being able to go across the way and take that.
Yeah, and realistically, it's just another choke point. This is choke point number 4, you know? Choke point, choke point, choke point. Yeah, map design. But like, this is another choke point. And the reason you can tell is because you have to really fight to get this back. Like, you have to use stuff to get here because this is a one-way. This ramp is really far. This spot doesn't help you get over here. So it's like you have to fight to get this back. You have to invest a lot. You need multiple players. You need a lot of bombs, special weapon, etc. And remember, every single one of those resources that you have to use to get this cannot be used over here. And so if you're able to hold this, you avoid having to use resources and can focus them all here. So it always ties back to that.
Thank you. That helps a lot.
Traded.
Two was dead.
This trade is the main unfortunate part, because now your Splash and T-Tech and Bucket have all traded, so now you guys are down specials, and they're going to have specials because they're pushing tower. So in this spot, understandable for you to help, but here, probably just better to, like, honestly just move top right where their team isn't, because they're all fighting left. You'll hold that right choke point, like, even if your Bucket goes down, you'll still hold that, and you'll have strike if they try to rush you. And you'll move them away from your E-leader.
Traded.
Luckily, you trade here, because if you don't, that E-leader is going down right afterward.
Get special.
And it's important to point out, like, even enemy team, like, I don't think they reckon, like, other teams don't understand this in terms of map design either. Like, their team should be walking right here. Like, if I played Starburst, they will put someone right here immediately.
Everything at you.
But this team doesn't.
I have crab here.
And so, like, luckily for a little bit, like, they're not in the best spot. They're down here. They're somewhat there. But really, you just hold here. You get your crab here. But they're not even there. So luckily, you have a 1v1 to take.
I'm dead.
The issue is we just hesitate. At this point, you're either getting Tri-Strike or you're fighting this guy. One of the two. And if you were going for Tri-Strike, you would have had to throw a bomb. So, like, here is just indecisiveness. You haven't picked between taking this fight or going for Tri-Strike. And so by the time you get Tri-Strike, it's late, and they're already here.
You have everyone.
So yeah, this was just a bit of a snowball with people going down. But you guys snowball because you kind of, you didn't recognize the importance of this right side of the map. So you guys walked backward instead of walking right. If you guys walked right, and your E-leader was here, this would have been a way easier fight. But when you guys walk backward, you gave them a much better fight. You're on low ground now, instead of on equal footing. You lose the angle. And if they get picks on you, they're already down here now. So it's a bunch of different things that you guys walking and taking the fight here is what lost you the game.
Get special.
And so, not just holding this position matters, but it also puts you in a better spot to fight than spawn. It's the whole bowl thing you've talked about. Like, you're fighting at the bottom of the bowl. It's going to be harder than fighting at the top. So, it's still difficult either way, don't get me wrong, but it's worth noting the differences between that. So, I hope that helps a little bit, but in general, tower will be the most snowbally in general just because they have special advantage, and it always happens when you're leading. Because you don't have losing team special advantage here either. It's 4.5 versus 0. This is what makes the mode terrible, by the way. Like, they are going to get special so much faster that you have, like, no margin for error. Like, they're going to have crab, another zip, a wave, faster than you'll even have your own wave breaker here.
They're just gonna throw everything at you.
Like, generally. That's what makes it so difficult in tower. You cannot mess it up. There's just no room for error, or things snowball really fast. So, like, here, this fight on the right or playing for Tri-Strike immediately sound desperate, and that's because it is. Like, at this point, the safest way to win the fight is gone. You don't have this anymore. So you have to fight for it, and you have to do it quickly in order to stop tower. And that's what makes this situation difficult. But it's worth noting, like, this is not where you guys messed up. This is not where you lost the fight. This whole sequence is the part you guys actually need to look at in terms of how you change it. Right?
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Chara. Huge thank you. Not only for going over, but just for coming on the channel and teaching the teacher a little bit. I hope that all the rest of y'all have learned a lot from that. There's a lot for me to learn from that and to process, and I'm definitely gonna put this up as a video on YouTube. Probably edit it down a little bit because there are a couple of concepts that I want to highlight out of it. But again, thank you so much. And if you got to get going, then I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, I'll head out here. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate being on here. Your chat is super nice, by the way. So thank you. Thanks
we work
to
on
everyone
that.
for tuning in. And yeah, you do a good. Yeah, of course, it's reflective of you. You do a good job with it, dude.
Thank you.
Keep going with the content, by the way. You're killing it. You explain some things, like, honestly, a lot of concepts you explain better than I do. Like, way better. And I just look at some of the things you put out and I'm like, wow, this is a perfect way to word this thing. And it's like, you're so good at explaining stuff like that. So I do want to put that out there while I'm here. You guys have a banger teacher here. Go listen to him.
Oh, shucks.
All right. But yeah, I'll head out. Thanks so much, and have fun with the rest of the stream. I'll see you later.
Thank you. See you later, Chara.
No problem.
Well, that was nice. That was very, very nice of him. I'm feeling happy things now. Where can we buy an hour of Chara's time? Well, that is a wonderful question, good viewer. Let me pull my screen back up here for just a second so that I can illustrate exactly how one might go about doing this. Actually, wait. Is that going to show? Okay, actually, what I'm going to do, because I'm worried that that's going to show personal information on my end, is I am going to get the link to his Medify account right now, and I will post that into the stream so that you can get a VOD review exactly the same way that I just did. Okay, I'm going to have to search it through Splatoon 3, I guess, because searching Chara doesn't come up, even though that's exactly what his name is. Okay. Here is that on YouTube, and here is that in Twitch. So, go to that link, and that is exactly where you will find Chara and be able to reserve those lessons. It's the same website that I use for my lessons. I am also on Medify. If you want to be on the Tuesday show, then you can just DM me on Discord. But on other occasions than, you know, a Tuesday a month and a half from now, Medify is where you'll want to reserve it. So, there that is. Your Inkling has been staring at the ground for so long. Oh yeah, he's used to doing that. I'm pretty sure his neck is just shaped that way at this point. Because this is not only the way that it spends a lot of time on stream, this is also the way that it spends a lot of time while I'm making videos. Because if I am making a video and realize, oh wait, I don't have footage of that thing, then I've got to, you know, pop in here and, you know, do something in the training room, or maybe go into recon mode, and then I'll put the controller back down, and I'll go right back to editing the video, and it'll last that way for hours sometimes, so. It is purchased from the void. Yes, exactly. This is how you get back pain. Look, they're Inklings, right? If you can do this to yourself... Look at how springy they are, right? They don't have bones. They're fine. As gamer Nick. How do you have back pain with no spine? See? Told ya. Explains the hours and... Oh, yeah, you're totally right about that. Like, this number that you see right here is fake. That is not a real number. This is, like, an average of, like, 8.5 hours a day based on when the game released. All right? That's not real. I have not spent... in 4 months, a similar amount of time to how I spent in, like, a year and a half of Splatoon 2. That's fake. But. Okay. Not closing the game when going into sleep mode lets you skipping news. It also wastes electricity. I don't recommend doing it the way that I do it for the average human being. But Fortnite, yeah, oh my god. I'm gonna warn you, I play Fortnite on Switch with, like, the bad motion controls that have, like, way lower sensitivity options than you have in Splatoon. And that I'm not used to because I'm used to Splatoon. Like, it's not going to be pretty, okay? You're not going to enjoy yourself playing that game with me if you're trying to get anywhere. I'll just be like, well, I'm knocked against anybody who's not a bot. The real number is 1241, not 1240. Yeah, okay, whatever. No, I haven't played Fortnite in a very long time. Oh, that's right. I have the normal splatter shot out because I was teaching someone something on a lesson before. Okay, anyway. Now I'm going to get a lot of friend requests. Oh, don't worry. I already have like 50. Let's see. Oops, wrong button. How many do I have? 62. I have 62 friend requests. Public service announcement, since I believe we have a bunch of people watching. I'm not going to accept a friend request unless I know for a fact that we're actually going to play together. Like if you're a VOD reviewee, if you're a teammate, if you're someone who's like on my stream where we're explicitly playing with viewers, yeah, sure, we'll do it. But like, I'm not just going to accept it randomly because I have 62 friend requests and I have a full friend list where if I friend, I think like 2 more people right now, I will run out of space. That's why I am not going to accept that. It's not because I don't like you. It's because the Switch has limited memory. So, anyway. Let's go and work on the things that Char was just talking about. Because, granted, you know, that's more for coordinated play, but hearing the idea that I should be taking off angles and like drawing attention so my teammates can do stuff on the strong side of the map, like that was very affirming and it makes me feel a lot better about the way that I've been playing. It makes me a lot less hesitant to make aggressive plays from those positions. So I want to work now on deliberately seeking those out and just occupying those spaces and not dying in them. The cap is, I think, like 300. Which is not a lot. Well, okay, that's nice. Hello. Please go away. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm glad I'm not dead. I'm worried about someone coming up wall. There we go. Oh, beautiful. For spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Oh, nice. And that got our crab room to move up. And I can now flank their crab, except that now they see me. That doesn't matter. Okay, we go over here. There's someone there. Okay, they came up this wall, I think. Okay, they're down already. Alright, we move up. Okay, very nice. We honestly should be able to hold... Okay, that's game over. Like, at this point, it's a squid party. Yeah, that was an unusually fast game, actually, Sam. I've definitely had some that have, like, timed out or gone to, like, 70 or 80 seconds. So I think it times out at 90. Monster Hunter... Oh, that was just the, like, Monster Hunter Rise demo. I don't actually play Monster Hunter Rise. I play Monster Hunter World. For spacious guys. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get games like that where you just mechanically outplay. Like, there were a bunch of things that the enemy team wasn't looking out for. They were going on top of each other. They were going in when there wasn't someone covering another angle or they weren't aware of someone, so... I won't say that it's like, oh yeah, Chara talked to me once and now I'm all of a sudden 2600, but... Like there, they backed off appropriately, and they, like, took the fight together when I was moving in and my teammates weren't there yet, so... And so... Oh, hello. Oh, crud. I don't know where this opponent is. Okay, yeah. Actually, that was someone from behind me, so that makes sense. Okay. So. Get our head back into it for a sec. Still one down. They're watching me here, so we can just move up. Okay, it's the bridge that we're going to need to put some pressure on. We've got the crab out. I need to protect this flank. I did not. I need to ouch here to let my teammates know there's still someone there. Nobody paid attention to that, unfortunately. Teammates booyah jumping out, so... There's probably someone watching this. No, there isn't. There should have been. Should be able to just stand here. Maybe not now. Ugh. Okay, we got one with bomb. Nice. Okay, that made a lot of sense there, though. I stood and kind of just held my ground instead of getting too antsy about pushing up. And because someone had to be looking at me, my teammates were able to get something done elsewhere. See, like, I can just hold here. And I got 2 for that. And my teammates should be able to move in, because they were just looking at me. Awesome. Put you down. There's someone sharking right there. Yeah, and there's going to be someone watching me here. But they are not going to expect me to drop, and they, in fact, never actually noticed where I was the entire time. Is that a jump? No. Where'd they go? Back here, or was that over the top? Couldn't tell. Oh, God. Not hitting your shots when you pop out from behind there is the scariest thing. It's a roller. You're just so dead. But that should have been 2 down easy. If I hit those shots, that's definitely a workable play. Roller, you come up first. They've been going for this repeatedly. Unfortunately, my teammate didn't see it coming, because I had to back up to the T-Tech. I'd really rather not just stay in a one... Okay, perfect. I was just going to say, I would rather not stay in a 1v1 with a T-Tech here. I don't think anyone retreated off the wall here. They're all on bridge. So teammate underneath should be able to help with that. They're weak, they're weak, they're weak. Get him, Videl. No, you didn't notice. We really need to keep the zones here. We don't have a lot of time before they knock out with them. This is more risky than it needed to be. Yeah. I think me going in there actually lost us the game. That was, again, me being too antsy. I was keeping a position that I was capable of holding. And if I had just held there and gotten special, I would have been fine. But I got panicked by the idea that I need to push right now, when me being there was already a relatively aggressive play. Okay. Thank you for not showing the replay. You would have said that about any game that I didn't show Chara, okay? You did fine. Well, the roller had the number of the beast painted, so, you know, of course they got smote by divine intervention. Just makes sense. Gem got a video about judging fights. That is a very complicated concept. Because there are a lot of questions that are bound up in that. One of which is, can I survive this fight? One of which is, can I win this fight? Another one of which is this fight important enough that it's worth taking in the first place? Do I have support for this fight? All of those could be their own separate video topics. Thank you so much, Ari. And good luck warming up. Or good luck in the tournament, I should say. For FTIU. Ah, that was close. Oh. Careful there, teammate. Okay, well, we're going in, I guess. And we're going in successfully. There we go. Ah, man. My teammate did so much work by themselves there that it was almost worth it. But not quite. I don't think anybody's seen me up here. They might just pre-fire it to check, which I've got to be careful about. But if I can find someone just blundering too close to me, like this. Man, too many people dead to be able to take the zone, though. And we did just feed in, so now I have to make like a hero play, and I can't, and the game is over. Just a little bit too much feeding going on there. Like, it's one of those situations where, like, I was ready to push in as much as I could be, but we never really got an opportunity to do so at an advantage, because we were always one down. Alright. So, unfortunately, I cannot keep going. I would like to play another few games at least. The thing is, stream is going to die before the next game can finish if it goes to time. Because of the internet thing that's been going on. That happens, I don't think at the top of the hour. I think it happens now at a minute past the top of the hour. But I haven't messed with it enough since to be able to troubleshoot that, so for now, that is going to cut us short here. And I probably will, because I would only be able to go on for another like 20 minutes or something after that anyway, at most. So I figure I'll probably just call it for the stream here. But that was really, really helpful. I'm glad that we were able to get Chara on here. Clearly, Chara's got some fans among our audience, and rightfully so. One of the best ambassadors of the game at a competitive level in general. Both from the outlook that he brings to it, the level of analysis that he can bring, and also just how prolific he is and how deeply he cares about making sure that other people are putting Splatoon out there on the map. It's hard to say too much that's good about what he's been doing for the community. So definitely, you know, if you haven't checked out ProChara, do yourself a service and go subscribe to him on YouTube. But that is going to do it for our stream today. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to put my links in. It's probably only going to show up on the Discord, the Twitch stream. So I'm going to copy and paste it over here. There. The links there go to all of the Squid School stuff. So that's my YouTube and my TikTok and my Twitter and all of the Twitch and all of the different places where I post content. You'll also find my Metafy there. I talked about Chara's Metafy earlier. If you want a lesson from him, go to the same site as where you would get a lesson from me. There's also my Patreon. I do this full time, and so that support is really helpful to me. And also right now, I am doing a campaign for HelloFresh. You can see up there is a code that you can use, POGHF31073, on HelloFresh.com to get 21 free meals plus free shipping. That subscription translates to them paying me a lot of money it gives you food that, you know, with that discount for the first box or so will be cheaper than groceries. And it's yummy. So check that out if you are interested. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm just gonna let the stream die comedically, I think is what I'll do here. I'll just like keep talking, and then at some point I'm gonna say something where it's gonna be funny for it to immediately cut out.